up, Badlands? Explain those Badlands. That's a hell of a name.
Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to OnlyLands. I know you guys are used to having Liberty on the spot, but we got a bunch of complaints that we didn't have a Tuesday, and I didn't want to already boot out DEF CON or whatever, so we're calling this show OnlyLands for a little bit until we do eventually boot that show out. But how are my co-hosts doing?
We're doing good.
You know, that just tells me that we have too many people in our audience that are into feet. And that means that we're going to need a lot more deportations to Guantanamo. I think we need to.
Don't yuck someone else's yum, Ghost.
How dare you judge?
Straight to jail. Straight to jail.
Oh, my God.
Speaking of feet, where's Alpha?
Dude, I mean, your guess is as good as mine. It's 7:30 on the West Coast. He could be anywhere.
My money's on Twitter Space.
That's a good bet.
I had to guess.
That's a
Tell
great
you what,
bet.
let's just go to Twitter and spy in
Let's go
on
spy
his.
on Alpha.
Yeah, let's just go spy in on Alpha's account. Now,
Dude, OnlyLands should go like occupy the Twitter space that he's in, and we should all just be like just troll the shit out of Alpha's Twitter space because he's probably in some very
Can't do
serious
that.
debate.
Twitter Space is serious business for Alpha. He is revered within that ecosystem. They talk about him when he's not there as though he is an oracle, because he sort of is.
Is that a good thing though to be like revered in Twitter Spaces of all places? Is like that? Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It kind of seems like
I was saying it is a good thing, just for the record.
It sounds to me like you're like the smartest kid with Down syndrome. Not to be improper
I don't
here,
think
but
that's very nice.
I know it's not. That's why I'm
the
saying
tallest midget at the circus is what I was
there you go.
saying.
There you go.
Yes.
That's better.
Yeah.
A lot of
the
people
most
who cares
fiscally
about
conservative
midgets?
member of Congress. Same vibe.
Yeah.
I used to like Twitter Spaces when we would have conversations about things, but I go in there and I would say 75% of the time it's the hosts of the Twitter space I'm in talking about their beef with the hosts of other Twitter spaces that are going on and reliving a whole bunch of stuff that happened in other Twitter spaces I wasn't in. And that seems to happen. And it's not just like a few sets of hosts. It's like that's what Twitter Spaces seems to be now.
So drama.
It's not just Twitter Spaces.
Drama.
I mean, this is like what the world is consumed with nowadays. I get so annoyed. Like, I have to be honest with you. Lisa is like into these drama spaces of like other communities, but she watches with this like morbid fascination, and she talks about like how evil and vindictive these people are, and just they're obsessed with taking down other people like for like the most minor of infractions. Like they'll decide like someone has crossed some line that is arbitrarily sacrosanct, and once that happens, they are forever enemies. And from that point forward, it is like the foundational goal of their life to go after them and destroy them in whatever way they can. And I see it in so many different places. It's like Lisa says this a lot. Like, we have become the TV. Like, it used to be that people would tune into like, cable television, Law and Order, SVU, Dallas, soap operas, things like that. And now they tune into Twitter Spaces, drama communities online. And that's where they get their like sick jollies from. It's so weird.
Well, you missed a step in between those two things. We had reality TV. So it was a
you're
step
right.
change. Yeah.
You're right.
Real Housewives shit.
Yeah. Okay. Oh,
I can proudly say I've never watched a single episode of any Real Housewives or Real whatever that stuff is.
Yeah.
Very
I've
proud of
never
that
seen
fact.
Real Housewives, but Mrs. Ghost will put on the she used to like the real estate shows because she like she's been really
Those are
into real
great.
estate. So like she's in like the flipper, like she used to be really into the flipper shows, not so much anymore. But like she'll like just put that stuff on the television and like while we're both just doing stuff, like, and it'll just be in the background. And I'll catch myself as I'm listening to what the people are talking about when they're not talking about their actual real estate or whatever the show is, because inevitably like other shows like autoplay on whatever the platform is, Netflix or whatever. And I'm just like, dude, this is the dumbest, like most low IQ shit I've ever heard in my life. It's retarded, and it's what puts butts in the seats, man.
It's an escape, right? Like it's brain candy. I had my AP literature teacher used to say that this, the whatever books we were all reading in the dorms, everybody, like, I don't even remember what it was, like Christopher Pike novels, I don't know. But he would call it brain candy because you're not actually doing anything to build your brain. You're not learning anything. You're just putting yourself sort of on autopilot. And that was with respect to books. This is like it's next level when you look at like just the mind numbing put on and zone out content there is out there. And it's the most profitable content, which is really sad.
Well, that's why we provide a healthy alternative.
That's correct.
Drama free, unless we're making fun of Alpha, and chock full of interesting facts and things that you should know.
Now, except when we're talking about like the midgets at the circus, or people being retarded, or people being fake and gay,
or gay.
The Jews,
or Una Penuna Banco.
Vagina.
We have to have just a little bit of comic relief in there, along with all of the like highbrow stuff.
I feel like we need a reality show now. I mean, is that how we need to fund Badlands? We need a reality show.
Yeah.
You guys ever seen Fish Tank?
No. Shark Tank.
Okay.
Shark Tank.
No. Fish Tank. Let's pull up a trailer for Fish Tank. Fish Tank is Sam Hyde's reality show where they have a group of the most like socially miscreant individuals that you can possibly find. They pull them into a house where they are filmed 24 hours a day. And it's literally like a full 60 days of psychotic abuse. And these people go through it and they suffer it willingly because they have some, like, I don't know, hero worship thing for Sam, or maybe they just think they're going to get famous. But you can also, as the audience, you can pay to abuse the people in the house.
Oh my God.
I think it's on the 3rd season now. I mean, like, this is like
Fourth
next
season.
level. 4th season. Okay, this is the next level of reality television. And it kind of reminds me of Running Man. And also, they just remade Running Man. It's a new version, Edgar Wright. It's coming out later on this year. I can't wait to see it.
So you're saying we should do it?
No,
we should all live. We should all live in a house for 6 months, and the audience can rant like tiered prices to make us do stuff and fight in different ways.
To find out what happens when people stop being polite.
Start
people
getting
start
real.
Take back that idea. We do not need a reality show. We do need, however, to give a quick shout out to our sponsor for tonight's show, and that is Love Litters. Good friends over there at Love Litters. They've been good to us, and they've been good to you Badlanders who have been supporting us by buying their product. Attention, all you Badlanders with purring pals and feathered friends, say hello to Love Litters. 100% pure kiln-dried wood, free from chemicals, and also kind to Mother Nature. No dust, no mess, and no toxins, just a lightweight solution that's gentle on your wallet, even gentler in your home. Their biodegradable litter is crafted from wood destined for landfills, giving it a new purpose in your pet's life. Cats love it. Love Litter's astonishing formula works like magic to neutralize that notorious cat urine odor, keeping your home pine fresh and welcoming. For bird lovers, it zaps moisture from bird droppings, crumbling them away, all while being safe if pecked at or ingested. For reptiles and critters too, their mix is crafted to dilute the pine scent, ensuring those little lungs stay happy and healthy. Plus, every 30-pound bag of Love Litters will last up to 6 months, saving you money. Transform your pet care routine today. Visit badlandsmedia.tv/litter. That's badlandsmedia.tv/litter, and breathe easy with a litter that loves your pet as much as you do. And I do have that trailer put up, Zach. If you really are so desperate to watch it, we can.
I don't know that I'd say desperate, but I think
I'm
everybody
real
desperate to watch it.
I'm surprised that Gordon hasn't watched this.
I've never even heard of this.
Seems like something Gordon would have.
Oh, he's an MDE guy, aren't you?
100%. Well, like Sam Hyde, like I don't regularly consume his content, but whenever I do see his stuff, like whenever it goes viral or whatever, I do think he's hilarious. So I should be watching this, I think.
But I mean, you were definitely watching him on Adult Swim before they got canceled, right?
Not on Adult Swim, but I've seen a lot of his stuff. So
right.
Yeah.
Okay,
real quick, before I play this, I did see a Rumble rant from PJW in the chat saying, "Hey John, please plug the Ohio Badlanders meeting on Sunday. Anyone with questions, email ohiobadlanders@yahoo.com." And it reminding me, we updated our website. If you go to badlandsmedia.tv/events, not only do we have our Garts on here now, we have all the upcoming Badlanders meetups that you can find.
that is so cool.
Yeah, and there's a
I
few
love
that
how
aren't.
many there are.
Yeah, and there's a few missing from here. I know Jules has one. It might be booked out though. And then this Ohio one, I don't know if that's on here. I don't see it. But if you have an event or would like to find a local group, you can go to badlandsmedia.tv/events, either click find local group, or if you're hosting an event, reach out to Bunny. I think she left us a boost. Yeah. Be Badlands Meetup admins. If you want your virtual or in-person meetup on the Badlands Media event page, contact at the VA Bunny on Telegram or email virginiafansofbadlands@gmail.com. Grow your community and welcome visiting Badlanders. Awesome stuff. All right, now let's watch this.
My role models are Ueno Azul because of his dedication, Solid Snake because of how he respects people.
The fish tank is a fully automated smart house.
Fully monitored smart house.
Fully monitored.
I'm so autistic that on my birthright trip to Israel, they put me in the special needs group.
8 contestants.
It's like a little bit of crack. It happens. It really does happen.
6 weeks.
Here's what you're going to realize about season 4. I'm the protagonist.
No privacy.
I pull my penis out. So I pull my penis out. Do something that'll get me kicked out. Something bad. I don't know.
No phones.
Because I keep like sensing this is the autism in people.
We heard what you said. We know when you go to the bathroom. And one winner is going to walk away with $8,000. Welcome back to Fish Tank.
Like the amount of abuse they suffer for such a small amount of money is crazy. Like to some people, $8,000 would be, great, but for what they go through, it's not a commensurate amount of money to win.
Yeah,
that looks funny, but probably not something I'd watch.
Oh my God.
I hate reality television, so like I probably wouldn't be in just for that reason. But I can always appreciate a good clip here and there. And again, Sam Hyde is hilarious. So
yeah, no, it is okay. So somebody asks, is this supposed to be funny? Cybermark. No, that's the thing is it's not really funny. It's disturbing. And it's because it's on 24 hours a day. I would say probably 90% of it is definitely not funny. It's mostly just a lot of psychological torture and people who are maladjusted, don't do well in social situations, being pushed into, circumstances that are far beyond their comfort zone and beyond the comfort zone of anyone. I mean, to imagine having a camera on you 24 hours a day, choosing to have a camera on you 24 hours a day while you're going to the bathroom. I think you have to be a very special kind of individual and not in a good way. And, but the clips that come out of it, they're bad. They're real bad. And there are people who you have to pay to watch this show. I've never seen it. I just know it exists. And you pay for like a membership to gain access to the camera feeds 24 hours a day. And then you can basically like send a super chat, which like will be read out loud. You can send people into the house specifically to accost individual contestants. And my ultimate point was that this is the ultimate low point in modern entertainment and people are here for it.
It sounds like what you're saying is that it's like C-SPAN, but with crackheads fighting each other. So it's like C-SPAN.
Yeah. Imagine if you were, do you guys remember bum fights from back in the day?
Oh yeah.
Bumfights.com, you used to get bum fights, like you get on VHS and then they got a website and then it was like, out of control. And so they'd go into LA and find a crackhead who was willing to go punch another crackhead for a $10 crack rock. Just imagine if you had people who were willing to do that in the same house 24 hours a day.
Babbage 3, I guess it's over on YouTube, said it's a critique of other reality shows, and that's probably the spirit behind it. I mean, somewhat understanding Sam Hyde's like angle on things it's like social commentary. So that's probably what it's getting at, is that this is what the zeitgeist of reality television is ultimately about, is just people being psychologically abused on television for the entertainment of others. And that's what reality television is.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think Sam knows exactly what he's doing, but I also think that there's probably thousands and thousands of people who are watching it unironically.
Oh yeah, that's the sick part.
Yeah.
So can we talk about like the crazy shit that's been happening?
Yeah.
Or do you just want to talk about reality TV more? I mean, totally up to you guys.
No,
Only
thanks.
if we're planning our own reality TV event.
Well, Babbage 3 again. I think over at YouTube did suggest that a show where we force G Money and Ash to be roommates in an apartment, that would actually be pretty funny. But
would we be found liable or like guilty in some way of like the homicide that occurs in that situation?
Not.
There would be a release that would be
I am a
ironclad.
pacifist, so it would not. There would not be violence.
You would be the one that would murder G.
I would not murder G Money.
You know, funny enough,
I would probably like annoy him enough that he would leave on his own, though,
or murder,
or he would murder you. Yeah, that would be actually really entertaining. Like to see who would murder the other one first, or at least maybe in a narrative sense, because both of you are very stubborn. But both of you are also very good at making your point and
murder.
Yeah, well, not just murder, but bullying. I feel like both of you would be good at bullying one another, like just nonstop. So
yeah, I don't think we even need to.
It is what we do
as roommates together. We just need to have them make like some sort of financial decision together. Like make just any kind of decision. Like even just go to the grocery store. You have a budget of 100
Terrible
sats.
idea.
You need to come back with food for a day. And how you can resolve that
series of team building exercises every day. See if you
that
guys can do
would
it.
be funny to send G and I out on quests where we had to make decisions. That's a potentially good reality show.
Like Link and Zelda. Today you guys are going to be finding the Ocarina of Time.
Ildani says the reality show is set in G-topia. That's not possible because there's no fucking way that ever exists.
We got to be careful how much we say here because he will show up. You guys know that he will show up on the show.
Well, G-topia is just like
I think we would both be into
like
doing that show too because it would be fun and we would fight, but we both enjoy fighting. So
isn't G in like the Austrian Alps right now? I mean, he's going to be with a sat phone and like a camera. Like I heard you.
I'm not really sure he is.
He's somewhere in Europe, but I saw that when he was on his flight, he posted like a video of Tomorrowland, which I think is like in the Netherlands, that music festival.
Oh,
and the entire thing is on fire. And he was like, "This is great. I'm on my way to Europe, and Tomorrowland is like burning to the ground." And I think Tomorrowland probably like some pretty dark stuff going on there. So
I mean, I heard it.
I mean, like we just signed the crypto genius bill, and he's fleeing the country on that same day.
Yeah.
That's
and then
like
Tomorrowland burning to the ground while G Money is coming there.
I've been told there's no such thing as coincidences, Ash. So that can't be it. Can't be true. Yeah. So what do you guys think of holy shit? Do you have that clip, Ash?
Yeah.
Oh, I have a you talking about the Tulsi Gabbard clip?
Yeah, I want to play Storm's
I have
Rise.
it. Yeah, I have it right here.
Is it Storm's clip?
No, it's somebody else, but it's about 4 minutes long.
The clip I sent was 8 minutes long.
Okay, well then let's go with the big one.
I think it was the whole segment.
Okay.
Well, the Storm Has Arrived had a shorter one, I thought. Oh yeah, it was 8 minutes. We might as well watch it.
We should watch the whole segment because the end is the best part.
Okay. Are you guys prepared?
Yes.
This is what I've been waiting for.
Ghost, I didn't get an answer from you.
Yes, I needed an extra few seconds to prepare myself, but now
even if he's not prepared, John, nothing can stop what is coming.
Okay,
that's right.
We're good to go then.
With reaction, the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, she declassified this report yesterday, has many more details. You know, I have this creation of the Russia hoax that you put out on X, that you posted on X, and I'll put it up as you're speaking here. What is amazing to me as I've gone through this cache of documents we've released is they concluded just the opposite. They concluded there was no problem. And then all of it, that was the rank and file. These were career people in the intel community. They gave honest assessments. Then all of a sudden it ends up in the hands of the leadership, the deep state as we call them. And what happened to it? Can you explain what the process and what these documents reveal?
Yeah, thank you so much, Sean. This is such an important issue. And I just want to start by saying that this is an issue that is important to every single one of us as Americans. This is not a partisan issue. It has to do with the integrity and the strength of our democratic republic. And it lays out this over 100 documents that you're referencing that I released, declassified and released, spells out in great detail exactly what happens when you have some of the most powerful people in our country directly leading at the helm, President Obama and his senior most national security cabinet, James Comey, John Brennan, James Clapper, and Susan Rice and others, essentially making a very intentional decision to create this manufactured, politicized piece of intelligence with the objective of subverting the will of the American people, who in November of 2016 delivered a historic victory to President Trump, defeating Hillary Clinton. And President Obama and his team, their goal was to essentially not accept the decision of the American people and to use this manufactured, politicized intelligence as a means to enact what would become essentially a years-long coup against President Trump. You have gone into great detail over these years of what the effects of this document and this decision have resulted in. Obviously, a years-long Mueller investigation that cost taxpayers almost $40 million, 2 congressional impeachments, endless smears and attacks against not only President Trump, but his family. He had senior members of his team who were investigated, some arrested and jailed. We had heightened and increased tensions between the United States and Russia. The list goes on and on about the consequences of President Obama and his senior cabinet members politicizing intelligence once again, and I say these words very clearly, to enact what was essentially a years-long coup, subverting the will of the American people in that election in November. Now, you referenced this President's Daily Brief document that was drafted for President Obama in early December that reaffirmed what the intelligence community professionals, as you say, had been assessing for the previous 6 months leading up to the election, which was that Russia neither had the intent nor capability to essentially hack the outcome of the U.S. election. As you said, President Obama's political appointees pulled that document before it could be published, and it has not been published until we released it today. And the very next day after they pulled that document, President Obama called a National Security Council cabinet meeting to discuss how Russia interfered with the election. Again, this is the first
This
week
is
of December.
9th,
President
right?
Trump had already won. Correct.
This is the December 9th meeting.
That's exactly right. The December 9th meeting, we declassified and released what they called the summary of conclusions from that meeting. Then DNI James Clapper took the lead on what President Obama wanted done, and which was essentially create a document that tells us not if, but how Russia interfered with the election. President Obama delivered the conclusion that he wanted the intelligence community to reach and directed them to find and essentially create and manufacture the intelligence to support the conclusion that President Obama wanted to deliver to the American people. Once that document was drafted, the deep state kicked into gear and did what they usually do. They started leaking this classified information out to their friends at the Washington Post and others who are working hand in glove with the deep state to lay the groundwork for the assessment that they eventually released that served as the basis, once again, for this years-long coup with the goal of trying to subvert the American people's will and usurp President Trump from being able to deliver on the mandate that the American people gave to him when they chose to elect him as president of the United States.
So you had career intel people that came to a conclusion that, in fact, Russia did not interfere, that it had no impact, and they didn't like the assessment. And they have this meeting with President Obama at the time, and they make the decision, a very conscious decision, to pervert real intelligence, turn it into phony intelligence, but also simultaneously something else was happening. And James Comey, for example, was warned about the Russian disinformation dossier that was paid for by Hillary Clinton. He was warned not to trust it, but it became the bulk of information for not one but 4 separate FISA warrants, ruined Carter Page's life, but also backdoored an ability for them to spy on President Trump, candidate Trump, and transition team Trump. Nobody was ever held accountable for that either. Now, to me, it sounds like you have appointed powerful bureaucrats that just flat out created a narrative that was false to undermine a duly elected president. Now, if that's not a grand conspiracy, I don't know what would be. Do you see crimes here?
I do, Sean, and I'm referring all of these documents that we have found and uncovered, referring them to the Department of Justice for further investigation, accountability, and action, not just investigation, but action. Accountability has to take place. The American people's ability to have faith and trust in the integrity of our democratic republic is literally what's at stake, and therefore the future of our ability to exist as the country that we know it. This accountability is critical to make sure that this never happens again. Exposing the truth and naming those who are responsible should drive that accountability that has to take place. I just want to mention quickly, Sean, you mentioned the Steele dossier. That plays a critical role in these documents that we released, specifically because James Clapper, James Comey, John Brennan, they all knew that the Steele dossier was discredited at this point. It's not something any intelligence professional looked to as something that could be referenced or should be referenced in any intelligence assessment whatsoever. I know that there were professionals who were told include the Steele dossier in this January Obama-directed manufactured piece of intelligence, and they protested to people like John Brennan and James Clapper. They were shocked that it would even be considered. The Steele dossier was used in this manufactured assessment that President Obama directed be created, along with many other pieces of intelligence that the intelligence community itself, for months leading up to the election, said this is not credible and should not be used at all.
Man, this is so good. I'm so excited about this. That I want to read this one thing, this one clip that I thought, or this one part of the memo that I thought was the most interesting. And I haven't read through all the emails yet. I don't know if you guys have, but this January 6th date, the Obama administration shares the unclassified ICA with the public. It falsely alleges, based in part on further information that had come to light since the election, that Putin directed an effort to help President Trump defeat Hillary Clinton. That information is later confirmed to be the Steele dossier, which Hillary Clinton fucking paid for.
Yep.
So, and they knew she paid for it.
The original January 6th.
It's insane.
It makes me wonder if, like, they somehow orchestrated January 6th, 2021 to happen on January 6th. Like, they made sure that Trump would have the event on that date so that it would just further muddy the waters in case anything ever was looked at in terms of January 6th.
Well, I think that significant, like what you just said there, the reason this happened on January 6th here is because that's the day that Trump, the Electoral College vote. So there was no going back for it at that point. Trump was going to be the one that was inaugurated.
Yeah.
And so this is when they started their plan to make sure that he was delegitimized. And another thing that happened on this day, I just pointed this out too. It's the same day that Obama's DHS designated election infrastructure as a critical infrastructure subsector, which ultimately led to the creation of CISA and helped steal the election in 2020 as well.
Question, because I haven't read through any of this document yet. Is this the infamous seventh floor meeting, Zach?
No, this is
you would know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no. This was in the White House. So this is like, you know, Obama calling in his intelligence cabinet, and the seventh floor working group is separate. But I mean, I think that they probably would have had their own stuff happening at the same time. But at this point, the seventh floor group would have already been disbanded. Well, I'm sorry, no, it was disbanded during Trump's tenure. But yeah, this is not like officially seventh floor, I don't think.
It's an NPC meeting, National Security Principals Committee or whatever.
So to the point about the elections as critical infrastructure, folks should watch Why We Vote tonight. We had Colonel Smith on, Sean Smith, and talked about the elections report in that context and all of the steps leading up to it. It's a big deal. I wanted to ask, so the first time I watched this Tulsi Gabbard thing, I'm sitting there thinking, I don't think we've ever seen anything like this before.
No.
I don't think we've ever seen a cabinet member, the director of national intelligence, no less, come out and effectively allege treason and say that there must be accountability, because usually what these people do is reveal stuff, right? And then nothing ever happens. And that still might be the case, right? Nothing might happen here, but I think that's unlikely, because I think that they know if we're going to have a golden age, then we have to get back to a place of public trust, and there will be no public trust without accountability. I believe her.
Yeah.
And I think she has the backing of the administration and what she's saying. But Zach, do you ever remember any cabinet member going on surrogates? Sure, to all the stuff they said about Trump, but this is different.
This is wholly unique. And
Yeah.
when she posted this on X earlier, and I mean, she specifically pointed to a coup, an ongoing coup, and hinted at seditious treason. I mean, that's a big deal. All right. I mean, like, we put who were they? The Rosenbergs. We put the Rosenbergs to death in the electric chair for something they may or may not have done. I don't know. It's fuzzy because it's so many years have passed, but I mean, this is very, very different. I mean, these people directly attempted to thwart not only a candidate that was likely to win, and then after he won, they did everything they could to stand in the way of the processes of government and ensure the will of the people from being implemented. And then after they stole the election from him in 2020, they attempted to do everything they could to put him in prison, to bankrupt him. And then even after he won again in 2024, they continued to operate as if they may be successful. And I think that they've got to be shitting bricks right now. Like, this is huge. And I know that a lot of people are just completely black-pilled. They think nothing ever happens. It's two hands on the same body. It's two wings on the same bird. There will be no accountability. I think we must have accountability. There's no way to recover from this. The United States is, people say banana republic. I mean, that's exactly what happens in banana republics. That's what we are.
They're shitting so much bricks that they fabricated a Wall Street Journal article about Trump drawing pictures and writing letters to Epstein.
The gayest and fakest hoax I have ever seen.
I seriously can't believe they did that. Like that is almost more bizarre than the decision to publish a dossier that alleges that Donald Trump intentionally rented the same hotel room in Moscow where the Obama stayed so that he could hire hookers to pee on him, so that it happened in the same bed that the Obama slept in. That was the crux of what the Steele dossier alleged, which is like a ridiculous fiction to come up with in the first place. This seems almost more insane to do what they're doing right now, especially considering that Trump is now back in power and, it is ostensibly on the warpath against them.
You know what's even more impressive about this is that it doesn't just go up to the White House. It doesn't just surround Obama. It directly implicates Obama in directing his people to set this in motion. Okay, sure. It's one thing when Hillary Clinton, a candidate, privately funds a dossier and then seeps it out to the press. I mean, that's kind of politics as usual. But it's another thing when the intelligence community adopts that fake dossier, brings it to the president. The president says, okay, well, now I want you to take this information that we already know to be fake. I want you to do everything you can to subvert the incoming administration on top of everything else that we've already learned. I mean, people have often said all roads lead to Obama. President Trump and the Patriots have been 100% vindicated with Tulsi Gabbard coming forward and saying this. It's not just that we know it to be true, it's that we can prove it to be true. And these people have got to be in panic mode. Like, that Wall Street Journal article is pure desperation.
What she showed about the Steele dossier, what the declassified documents, as I understand, I haven't read through all of them, but I've seen some of the stuff. It's more of the meeting of the minds. we're seeing that they have not only conjecture, they have documented meeting of the minds in this presidential briefing document and in their own emails. It's evidence that will convict.
It's definition
on
of
a
a racketeering conspiracy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also what I think is really interesting. There's a section in here where not only do they point out it was at the president's request, which is super damning for President Obama.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure this meeting here on December 9th, this is where they changed, because this was after they looked at all the election stuff and saw that there was no actual election interference. This is when they started to use the phrase election influence instead. And that's when they ran full steam ahead with that. It's an interesting time in terms of the intelligence community's assessment process, because it broadened the entire definition of election interference and influence and all that stuff, because that's what they went with. And they have a whole like assessment they wanted to be drawn up based on they had all these questions like, where did they do this? Where did they do this? Where did they do this? It's damning.
So
yeah,
the other part of this is that like this scandal is not separate. It does not exist separately from all of the other scandals that have been embroiled in the federal government over the years. I mean, the same people that were involved in 9/11 led to the same people that were involved in the plot to destroy Trump. And you can take that narrative thread backwards, and it just keeps connecting the same players over and over and over again. And so this is not just about taking down the people who tried to subvert the government under Trump. This is the deep state itself. This is the deep state defined. And that's probably, in my opinion, the main reason that we have to have accountability, is because if we don't, then they're just going to go underground. They're just going to sleep for a couple of years until they have an opportunity to rise back up again. And then they'll come back, many-headed Hydra, even worse than they were before.
As damning as this is, do you think it's enough for your everyday American to like care? You know what I mean? Like, and do we care if they care? I mean, to me, it doesn't matter. Like, I think we just move full steam ahead and fucking prosecute these assholes and get it over with as quickly as possible here. But I feel like this is more tip of the iceberg type stuff, because you're not going to lead, in my opinion, if you're Trump. You're going to tease people. You're not going to lead with your best, harshest evidence. You're going to get people to question and debate, like, okay, is this really that bad, though? Like, is this really that bad? 'Cause I haven't even watched any mainstream media, but I'm assuming they're trying to figure out a way to justify what happened here, or if they're even talking about it at all. And that's when you put the hammer down and be like, oh, yeah, also, what about this? What about this? What about this?
Let's do a vibe check. Let's go see, is like, if mainstream media has reported on this at all, because this is the exact opposite of what they have said took place all these years. This is the proof of the conspiracy that they claimed we were crazy for saying existed. And I mean, every single time something gets shown, they kind of backtrack just a little bit. And I think they do what you just described, John, like, okay, well, maybe it did happen, but it's not really that bad. But I mean, if the roles were reversed, then we know that it would be all over the place. It'd be front page.
Yeah, I don't blame people who are feeling numb to this stuff, because we've heard so much about this topic ad nauseum for the past, I mean, at this point it's 8 years. And in hindsight, I actually look back and blame a lot of the mainstream quote unquote conservative news for doing that. I mean, Sean Hannity, does everyone remember like in 2018 when Sean Hannity was doing the TikTok bit where he was saying TikTok, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, we're gonna have something really big dropping. Big things are coming down the pipeline, and that's really what started the whole hopium thing. And then like 2 weeks became like a running joke, in the Q circles, and then now it's like a object of ridicule. Like 2 more weeks, yeah. But and then remember like Trey Gowdy like coming on all like Sean Hannity show every single night and teasing that big things were coming down the pipeline. People were about to get indicted. So like, I think people's nerves are just shot when it comes to this stuff, and they have a hard time. It wouldn't surprise me if normies have a hard time just like buying into anything's actually going to happen. Like, yeah, let's just assume that everything that's being presented here is real and that these people did commit treason and these people did actually do all the things that are being alleged. Is anybody actually going to be held accountable? I mean, is anybody ever held accountable? And the answer is no. And so in the mind of a normie
who black pill.
No. Like, I'm not taking the black pill. I'm putting everybody in frame for how a person who doesn't track this stuff the way that we do and doesn't have the same view of Donald Trump the way that we do would look at all this and say, like, my dad, for example, like rejected the idea that there was like conspiratorial corruption in the government. He totally accepts that there's individual corruption, but nothing on like a RICO level. He may now be, well, I haven't talked to him about this, but I've been telling him about this, but he's been rejecting it for years. Something tells me that he's just going to be like, you know what? It's just time for us to move on. The country needs to move on and heal. Like, nothing's going to happen. Like, we know nobody's going to get arrested. Like, no, Hillary Clinton's not going to jail. Like, come on. Like, just putting it in context. That's what the normal average thinker who is not invested personally, emotionally into this stuff is potentially thinking. And I wouldn't blame people who were like emotionally, like personally invested in this and got burnt out. I have several friends who were like hardcore in the info war and literally blue pilled back into the matrix and stopped following this stuff because they black pilled after Biden came in. Yeah, it's like, I understand why people's nerves are shot, but I would agree with all of you that this is a very big deal that Tulsi Gabbard is now coming on. And I think that it's a little apropos that she came on Sean Hannity's show to do it. As much as I hate Fox News getting the attention dollars, the fact that she's going on the show that was saying TikTok, 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 TikTok throughout 2018 and 2019. And you remember when Sean Hannity was wearing a Punisher? He literally wore a Punisher pin.
Yeah, I remember.
He was leaning into the Q stuff so long. So,
okay, I have a vibe check. You guys want a vibe check?
Let's
MSNBC vibe check,
please.
State congressman could have gotten that from 21 to 25 when Democrats controlled the DOJ. Why? It was a crisis then. It's a crisis now. Why didn't Democrats call for it from 21 to 25?
So, I mean, you'd have to go back and look specifically at particular prosecutorial decisions and what was taking place in terms of the other cases. So I don't know. We could try to reconstruct that record. But the point is that Donald Trump is the one who has led the crusade to say that that Epstein, who was his very close friend, and there's all kinds of pictures of them in the state.
Yeah,
I mean, technically, that's from the Epstein stuff.
Yeah,
not
different
this
story.
Obama
Yeah.
stuff. But yeah,
that's panic though.
Yeah, it's a great question though too.
Also, the Epstein stuff, weren't they supposed to go into court today to declassify
Well, see, everybody was very misconstrued. She went to file the motion. The judge has to rule on the motion, so she filed it a couple hours ago. It could take weeks for all we know for the judge to respond to the motion. And after those weeks, he may not release a single thing. We may not get a single further document out of these grand jury testimonies or transcripts from
We've
this
also
judge.
got redactions.
Yep. So we'll see. We shall see. But yeah, that is funny. It's a legitimate question. Is like, why? Where was the calls for transparency over the Epstein stuff? Before Thomas Massey, I discovered this on my show. He had like one entire post, and it was a sarcastic one demanding for transparency. Like, I demand the Epstein files. He said it sarcastically to somebody who said he should be demanding the transparency of the Epstein files. And that was it. The entire time of Biden's term. And now he's like leading this huge push. And he's only doing it because it's a political tool right now. It's bullshit.
The story that we were just told about the Epstein files is that Trump was going to declassify them. Then Pam Bondi said, no, that's done. Everybody freaked all the way out. Democrats got on board and said, yeah, we need to release the Epstein files that mention Trump. Everybody's like, no, all the Epstein files. And the Trump administration is like, no, we're done. We're not doing that. And then the people that have never demanded the Epstein files, the mainstream media specifically, and who only just recently started demanding Epstein files, all of a sudden know what's in the Epstein files that haven't been released that they were demanding, the ones that mention Trump. It's so clearly fabricated that I think a lot of people feel stupid for how mad they got.
Yeah, yeah. It's pretty interesting. I love also that as it's been so many years that these people could have demanded it, now suddenly they're focused on it so completely. And it's very obvious that the only reason it's happening is because they think that it's somehow going to hurt Trump. But it allows Trump, in my opinion, a level of removal from it. This is going to be far more explosive if information comes out in a way that I would like to see it. And the fact that Ron Wyden stood on the floor of Congress and began talking about the money trail, like that was what I was saying initially. Like, why are they just not following the money? I mean, you're telling me the IRS and Treasury doesn't have a bunch of reports about money going back and forth into Epstein's accounts. I mean, we've got the U.S. Virgin Islands case with Jess Staley and Chase Manhattan. So obviously there's a bunch of information to look at. If these people are the ones who ask for it to come out and it comes out and then it crucifies them, I think it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I do want to show this, speaking of Thomas Massey, real quick. Trump posted this a couple hours ago.
What happened to Thomas Massey? When did he decide to start voting with the radical Democrats? Massey voted against President Trump's tax cuts. Massey voted against finishing President Trump's wall. Massey even voted against Trump's ban on taxpayer-funded sex.
I had to pause it because every one of these, if you look, it's the roll call votes. It's technically not the actual votes.
Exchanges for minors.
I don't think Thomas Massey understands government. I think he's a grandstander. I think he should be voted out of office.
Let's fire Thomas Massey. MAGA Kentucky is responsible for the content of this advertising.
That's playing in Massey's district right now.
So do they have anybody that they're running against Massey yet?
I don't know for sure.
Because I think it's going to be a feat, like to be able to unseat him, to get him out of there. I mean, he's pretty popular, and maybe that has changed just because of his public battles with President Trump. But
do you think in a system where elections were actually free and fair and legitimate, a Trump endorsed candidate would ever lose to the non-Trump endorsed candidate in a Republican?
Honestly, I think that in some instances, yes. I mean, I feel like Trump has endorsed people who were, objectively bad in the past. But I mean, if we're talking about a truly free and fair system where the candidate that gets the most votes ends up getting elected, I mean, anything could happen, because I don't know that we've ever seen that. I don't know that we even know what that looks like, really. I mean, other than just to speculate about its possible existence.
Yeah. I mean, just look at the super PAC that has always funded Massey's campaign, and it's super sketchy. It's a Zionist. It's a Zionist super PAC that backed Ted Cruz, that backed all of like the super pro-Israel people, and for some reason they're backing Massey, who has always claims to be like anti-Israel, and that's like his shtick. And it's super shady. It kind of just proves that he's not 100% straightforward. I mean, that's a little suspect, but anyway, the whole libertarian thing, I've soured on the whole libertarian politician thing. The libertarians, it's like they will grandstand about small government until the moment comes to actually protect like populist interests, and then they will always vote against populist interests, like finishing the wall. Do you remember when the Republicans were arguing against spending $5 billion to finish the wall? This was almost 10 years ago.
Comical.
I mean, comical.
It was never about the $5 billion. It was just about voting against Trump.
People forget that the Republicans controlled Congress, both houses, House and the Senate, the first 2 years of Trump's term, and totally torpedoed Trump's agenda because they were led by Paul Ryan. Paul Ryan just totally undermined Trump. Trump couldn't get anything done because of Paul Ryan. And so because of that, Trump ended Paul Ryan's career. Paul Ryan was supposed to be president. He was supposed to be like the golden boy of the Republican Party, and Trump totally destroyed his career. And then he goes to Fox News, and that's why Fox News turned on Trump.
I hate
this great clip.
5 or 6 years ago, they all wanted the wall. It was only when I came along and I said, we got to build the wall now. You've wanted it, but you never had the vision or the talent to get it built. So we got to build it. I figured they'd all join. And instead, they said, no, we don't want the wall anymore. They said, no, we can have drone technology. Oh, that's great. People are pouring across. You got drones flying all over the place. That's great. That's great. No, we should have said we want to never build a wall. And they would have insisted that it get built immediately.
It's true.
It's true.
Great point, Ghost.
All right. So I don't know about somebody running against Thomas Massey, but Wounds R Us sent me some information about the guy who is supposed to be the MAGA contender to Mitch McConnell. His name is Nate Morris.
Isn't Mitch McConnell retiring?
Well, he is. But I mean, Mitch McConnell, like his chosen successor would be the person that would probably be getting the most support. And if there is somebody running in that primary that's a better choice, I think that it would be good to at least examine them. So here is his recently released campaign ad. I want to say this just came out like,
I don't really care. Midterms are how far away?
They may be, but I mean, I just,
Elections are still fake.
yeah, let's just see who they're putting out there.
Disapprove.
It's garbage day in Kentucky. And thanks to Mitch McConnell, things have gotten dirty. The Bluegrass State is sick and tired of cleaning up career politicians' messes. I'm Nate Morris, a Trump America First conservative, and I'm here to take out the trash. I'm a ninth-generation Kentuckian, born to a single mom on food stamps, raised in a union household. I'm the product of Bluegrass Grit. I borrowed 10 grand to start a business, created thousands of jobs, and took it public, valued at $2 billion, as one of the biggest trash companies in America. So I know a little bit about garbage. And Mitch McConnell, he's trash Trump. And for over 40 years, he's been dumping on us. Amnesty for millions of illegals. Rhino judges in courtrooms across America joining Democrats on gun control. Billions spent on Ukraine and other foreign wars. And trillions more on Biden's massive spending bill. All while becoming one of the richest senators in Washington. And now he's calling it quits. And thinks he can stick us with one of his puppets instead.
My mentor, leader Mitch McConnell, I'm with him because his legacy is big.
Senator Mitch McConnell, and it's been a great privilege and honor to know him, and I'm proud to call him a friend. I'm proud to call him a mentor.
They'll betray President Trump and sell us out. Not on my watch. We've let the garbage pile up in Washington, D.C. for far too long. I'm running for Senate to help President Trump clean up the mess. I'm not a politician, and I've never run for office. And I will never stop fighting for the place that made me the man I am today. I'm Nate Morris. Let's dump career politicians and take out the trash in Washington.
Is he is the business that he built a garbage business?
It's a garbage business.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, good. Yeah, I like it. Good ad.
That's how you campaign, by the way. It's like you just like, oh yeah, this guy is a total shill puppet for Mitch McConnell, and has probably been to a ton of freak off parties in DC. And yeah, you don't want to vote for a pervert like that.
Yeah. The Cameron guy is the person that I have seen put forward as like, the guy that is supposed to take Mitch McConnell's place. Both of those two were his like mentors. And recently Cameron came out and like publicly split with Mitch McConnell over his relationship with Donald Trump and how he's been trashing him. But I mean, it seemed like a calculated political move to, try to connect himself to the greater MAGA base.
You guys want to read through the 4-page unsealing motion?
Yes.
For the Epstein files?
Yeah.
Okay, this is filed today by Todd Blanche, I believe.
Love him.
Yep. United States motion to unseal grand jury transcripts. At the direction of the Attorney General, the Department of Justice hereby moves the court to release grand jury transcripts associated with the above referenced indictment. On July 6, 2025, the Department of Justice and Federal Bureau of Investigation issued a memorandum describing an exhaustive review undertaken of investigative holdings relating to Jeffrey Epstein. The memorandum detailed the steps taken by the Department of Justice and FBI to determine whether evidence existed that could predicate an investigation into uncharged third parties. As the memorandum concluded, no such evidence was uncovered during the review. Since July 6, there has been extensive public interest in the basis for the memorandum's conclusions. While the Department of Justice and FBI continue to adhere to the conclusions reached in the memorandum, that's interesting, transparency to the American public is of the utmost importance to this administration. Given the public interest in the investigative work conducted by the DOJ and FBI into Epstein, the DOJ moves the court to unseal the underlying grand jury transcripts in United States versus Epstein, subject to appropriate redactions of victim-related and other personal identifying information. The department will work with the United States Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York to make appropriate redactions of victim-related information and other personal identifying information prior to releasing the transcripts. Transparency in this process will not be at the expense of our obligation under the law to protect victims. So right off the bat, it doesn't sound like they're changing their conclusions based on what potentially could be released. On July 2nd, 2019, a grand jury sitting in the Southern District of New York returned an indictment charging Epstein with sex trafficking offenses. On August 10th, 2019, while awaiting trial, Epstein committed suicide in a cell. Blah, blah, blah. Soon the court dismissed the indictment. On June 29th, 2020, a grand jury sitting in the Southern District of New York charged Epstein's longtime confidant, Ghislaine Maxwell, with numerous offenses related to the trafficking and coercion of minors. In December 2021, a jury found Maxwell guilty on several counts. Maxwell was sentenced to 240 months imprisonment, and the Second Circuit later affirmed her convictions and sentence. On July 6, 2025, the Department of Justice and FBI announced the conclusion of their review of the particulars of Epstein's crimes and death. Since then, the public's interest in the Epstein matter has remained. Given this longstanding and legitimate interest, the government now moves to unseal grand jury transcripts associated with Epstein. It's a tradition of law that proceedings before a grand jury shall generally remain secret. The tradition of secrecy, however, is not absolute. Although Rule 6b(3) of the Federal Rules of Criminal Procedure generally lists the exceptions to grand jury secrecy, the Second Circuit has recognized that there are certain special circumstances in which release of grand jury records is appropriate even outside the boundaries of the rule. It merely identifies a permissive list of situations where the power can be used. One such special circumstance is historical interest by the public. Regarding Craig, this court retains discretion to determine whether such an interest outweighs the countervailing interest in privacy and secrecy. Public officials, lawmakers, pundits, and ordinary citizens remain deeply interested and concerned about the Epstein matter. Indeed, other jurists have released grand jury transcripts after concluding that Epstein's case qualifies as a matter of public concern. See order granting plaintiff's motion for reconsideration of the trial court's February 29, 2024. That's in Florida. After all, Jeffrey Epstein is the most infamous pedophile in American history. The facts surrounding Epstein's case tell a tale of national disgrace. The grand jury records are thus critical pieces of an important moment in our nation's history. The time for the public to guess what they contain should end. Notably, the privacy interests at stake on the other side of the balance are substantially diminished due to Epstein's death. Of course, as noted above, the Department of Justice will work with the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York to redact all victim identifying information prior to any release. For these reasons, this court should conclude that Epstein and Maxwell cases qualify as a matter of public interest, release the associated grand jury transcripts, and lift any pre-existing protective orders. And then regarding Craig, it is entirely conceivable that in some situations, historical or public interest alone could justify the release of grand jury information.
So, Ash, can you answer this for me? They don't specify if they're talking about U.S. versus Epstein 2008 or U.S. versus Epstein 2019. Would an order like this with this type of language encompass both cases, or would it be necessary to make a specification between the two?
I think it's all
It
three
seems
cases.
they're talking specifically about 2019 because those are the dates they lift starting in point 1. They don't mention 2008.
Okay, and Maxwell stuff is still under seal because she's still got the appeal pending before the Supreme Court.
No, that got denied.
Oh, it did get denied.
I thought it got denied this last week.
I thought that it had been presented, but that the Supreme Court hadn't made a ruling yet. If it has, then that's fine, because if all of her appeals have been exhausted, then there's no reason to hold her stuff under seal either.
Pam Bondi's DOJ rejects Ghislaine Maxwell's appeal.
Yes, but the Supreme Court is the deciding factor.
This was just July 15th. Oh, sorry. The DOJ has called on the Supreme Court to reject an appeal.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was going to say the DOJ doesn't have that authority.
Yeah, I was going to say that too.
Yeah.
So I could have
Brian is in
swore
the
I saw.
chat. I thought you were coming on the show, Brian. Where are you? He said on Why We Vote, I'll see everyone later on Liberty Day.
Well, he's a liar then. But I'm pretty sure they're looking to unseal the Southern District of New York one for Epstein, the one for Maxwell, and there's also one in Florida that was mentioned in here.
Yeah,
I think
so
they're also looking to.
So 2008 and 2019 were both they were both filed in the Southern District of New York, but they tried Epstein essentially down there in Florida. That's where the deal happened and everything. Somebody just posted in the chat an article from CBS that claims that it would actually include both of the cases. So the Justice Department filed a request to unseal the 2019 sex trafficking. It also petitioned for the release of grand jury transcripts in the case against Ghislaine Maxwell. And then it also asked Southern Florida court to release transcripts for the case in the 2000s.
There you go.
I love it. That's good.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, don't leave anything to chance.
Now, Reeve said on SitRep last night, it's like the most rare thing ever for them to unseal grand jury.
Yeah. Odds are very low.
Yeah.
So I think that the 2008 case is almost more important because of the specific rider for non-prosecution of unindicted co-conspirators, because they don't even talk about co-conspirators in any respect in 2019 or in Maxwell's case. So that would lead one to believe that there would have been evidence put forth making the need for protection of those people back in 2008.
But what do you think of the aspect of this memo where they're like the FBI still stands by its conclusions? Let me pull that back up here.
Have they seen the new information yet?
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure in the memo they said that they reviewed the grand jury stuff and everything that's under seal. So
I suppose the government reserves the right to change their mind at any time, inexplicably.
Again, I just want to prepare people for a potential two rugs. One, that we may not get these at all. It's up to the judge. And two, if we do, it still may not feed the confirmation bias. So I'm just rug prepping.
Yeah.
Got to sell some rugs.
It is possible.
Yeah, it's possible.
Did y'all see the Daryl Cooper interview with Tucker?
Hang on, before we go into that, do you think that Anna Paulina Luna is going to be able to impact whether or not we get to justice? Because she's flexing pretty hard on the internet.
She is, though.
She's such a grifter. I personally think she's a grifter. That's just I haven't seen anything that has proven to me that she's nothing more than a grifter. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Yeah, she's trying.
That's what grifters do. They try real hard.
Oh man. Okay.
I mean, have you guys seen anything that shows that she's not a grifter?
No, I would agree with you 100%. I mean, I think she's like a social media influencer. Like she's looking for attention dollars. That field trip to Dallas was shameful.
Yeah.
I think that she got closer than anybody has gotten to getting proxy vote for breastfeeding women. And these are the issues that Americans, tens of Americans, care about.
She literally didn't she end the JFK hearing early to go attend to that matter?
She did. She shut down the fucking JFK hearing to go do Brittany Pedersen, who's a Colorado. She's baby prop chick. Everybody knows baby prop chick, right? She's the absolute worst. And her husband has been alleged to be like grifting taxpayer money at the county level out here through his consulting firm. Anna Paulina Luna ditched her big JFK commission debut without, by the way, revealing a single government secrets in the government secrets declassification task force, and went to do proxy voting. Thankfully, it failed because we shouldn't throw out centuries old precedent because bitches be crazy, but apparently that's where we're at.
I think the one thing that she has gotten done, and it might have even been through like a fucking FOIA for all I know. I'm pretty sure that's like the only actual authority she has is the same authority we all have, is a FOIA. And it was that one guy who they denied was a CIA, or they said wasn't a CIA guy that they revealed was. I don't remember his name.
Yeah.
But everybody's like kind of moved beyond that.
She has made sure to let people know that was revealed.
Too. Oh yeah.
That definitively we now know that there was a second shooter. So the magic bullet theory wasn't real, everyone. Where the bullet went in and went zing zong 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 zip zap zoop zap. and killed like 2 people with the 1 bullet, that wasn't real. Thanks, APL.
If only
Back.
somebody had gone to Dallas to look into this before. Sometime in the past 60 years. Anyway, we were going to move on to something else. I don't remember what it was. I don't know. If it was...
Ghost in the interview. I have not seen it, but I've seen people talking.
Yeah, I mean, I've only gotten into the first few minutes of it, but man, the first 8 minutes of it, the data points that he lays out for Donald Barr, Bill Barr's father, it's like, holy shit, man.
Yeah.
Donald Barr's first job out of college was to intern at the CIA, and he was assigned the role of the
right?
He was former OSS. He was former OSS, and then his first job out of college was to work in the CIA. I'm sorry, Bill Barr's first job out of college, not Donald Barr. Donald Barr was OSS, and then Bill Barr's first job out of college was interning at the CIA, and this was during the Church Committee. And the Church Committee, as Daryl Cooper explains, is like the closest we ever got to getting actual disclosure about the CIA, or what the CIA was doing. It was the closest we ever came to shutting down the CIA, or at least reining them in.
Yeah.
And his official role was to be the liaison between Congress, who was investigating the CIA at the time, and the CIA. So he was like the go-between. They would say, hey, we want these documents. He'd go over to the CIA's building, get whatever they were willing to give him, and then go back to Congress and convince Congress that this was like all you were going to get, and we should be happy with it. And the person in charge of the CIA at the time, of course, was George Bush. Fast forward to 1989 when George Bush wins the election and he appoints Bill Barr as Attorney General. I totally forgot Bill Barr was Attorney General under under George Bush, and that means he was Attorney General during Waco, right?
Maybe
was Waco 93?
Yeah, I feel like that. I feel like that was right after Clinton came in.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. Waco would have been during Clinton. No, I'm sorry. You're right.
Yeah.
Anyway, like
February through April 93.
Yeah, and then Donald Barr, of course, is the one who hires Epstein to work at the Fulton School, and yeah, it's just the coincidences there are just insane, and it's it really does put into perspective like why Trump chose Barr to be Attorney General, assuming Barr is bad. I mean, Barr could be not what it appears, but damn, if he is a good guy, that is a hell of a CV to be carrying around. That you help protect the CIA during the Church Committee hearings.
I'm gonna have to listen to that interview. I've heard a few people say it was pretty darn good.
I mean, Cooper brings the receipts for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you should watch it. I started watching it and then I got interrupted, so I went back and I was like an hour in. It's like 2 hours and 40 minutes, I think. But so I went back and watched it from the beginning again this morning, which I was yesterday was when I was watching it before, and it there's a lot of stuff in there that I had no idea about, and I've never like done super involved digs on all the Epstein history and stuff, so a lot of it was informative for me that might be less so, like the updating his will 2 days before he allegedly killed himself. That was, I feel like it was brand new information for me. But John, you knew that from the IG report.
Yeah, I knew that for a while. There's a lot of interesting stuff in there. Like he not only did he update his will, but he had tried to commit suicide, we're told, allegedly, before that. But then, he updated his will on August 9th. That's when the 2000 records from the Maxwell case got released. He makes a personal phone call to like whoever his partner was at the time. And then that next morning he's found hanging in a cell. Like those are data points that people don't like to put out there because it kind of goes against the narrative everybody wants to push. But they're legitimate. We're told as legitimate as a government document can tell us they are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, and the Bureau of Prisons, right, says that they didn't know that they didn't know that he updated his will and that he was that suicidal, or it would have changed what they had done. I think in that screen grab you shared from the IG report, it said something along those lines. I'm paraphrasing, but
yeah, I mean, I can pull
that
that
seems
up here.
strange to me.
Which one?
Yeah.
That they wouldn't have known.
Yeah. That is weird.
And then Ken contacted me earlier. He must have been listening to it because I haven't gotten that far into it. But he said, "Did you know that that Robert Maxwell is a personal attorney who was also happened to be the last person he met with before he allegedly died or allegedly killed himself or died or whatever, was murdered. Was Anthony Blinken. Anthony Blinken's father was his personal attorney and the last person to see him alive.
Shit.
Yeah.
I have never heard that before. That's
I actually did know that. I actually did know
Maxwell's.
that Anthony Blinken's father was Robert Maxwell's personal attorney.
Yeah.
I did not know that he was the last person to see him alive, but I went back and checked after CanCon texted me that, and that checks out in like the book that I have on Maxwell.
Great comment, Pammy. Yeah, I feel like there's so much that I don't know about the Epstein stuff because I didn't like follow the Q drops and all those things. Like, I just feel like there's so much I don't know. I am very curious to see the transcripts, whatever we get. I'd be curious to see what's in there.
Yeah, well, and I mentioned this in the private chat because Ash and I did. I don't know if you were there, Ash, but back when we were doing Badlands Live, the Kash Patel hearing.
Yeah, I was there.
During Kash's confirmation hearing, do you remember the Democrats were grilling him, being like, "Tell us what you said in the grand jury testimony," and he was like, "I can't do that. That would be against the law." And they're like, no, like the guy was getting like unreasonably angry. He was like grinding his teeth. White House, wasn't it White House who was getting like really, really mad? He was like grinding his teeth. The guy with the sweater vest on looked like a real creep.
Wyden, Ron Wyden, was it him?
No, I think it was White House. I want to. Isn't there a guy whose name's Whitehouse?
Sheldon Whitehouse.
Yeah, Sheldon Whitehouse. He was a creep in like every single confirmation hearing that I saw. And Kash Patel kept telling me, he said, if you want the grand jury testimony, you need to go talk to the court, subpoena it. They will bring it to you. I can't tell you what was said during the grand jury testimony. I'm pretty sure that would be against the law.
I think I got it.
The guy was like, don't worry about the law. You answer to us. Tell us what it was in it. It was a thing. They went back and forth for like 10 minutes and the guy wouldn't let it go. And Kash like reinforced that like to go get the grand jury testimony. That was the first thing I thought of when
You're sure it was White House?
I'm pretty sure it was White House. It was Sheldon Whitehouse.
I have him with Cory Booker declining the grand jury thing, but let me see if I can find White House.
It was multiple Democrats who were attacked. Yeah. They were tag teaming Kash on it, but White House was one of them. And because he was the one who was so ornery the whole time, like with all the different confirmation hearings.
I think I might have that clip. Well, let me find it. I have this one from Maisie Hirono.
Sheldon Whitehouse has given a lot of press conferences about Kash Patel. One of them, he has a big sign that says "Stop Kash."
What?
I'm trying to find the clip that.
I'm going to play this one while you're looking.
Mr. Patel, did Donald Trump lose the 2020 presidential election? Yes or no?
President Biden's election was certified. He was sworn in and he served as the president of the United States.
Once again.
There's one, and then
I got it when you're ready.
Okay, yeah, go for it. I was just stalling.
Okay.
Yeah, here it is.
Something about grand juries. I just went to the DOJ website, get language. I'm quoting it. Federal Rule of Criminal Procedure 6E prohibits most persons present during the proceedings from disclosing what transpired inside the grand jury room. However, the proscription does not apply to witnesses. Do you now, as a grand jury witness, authorize this committee access to a transcript of your own testimony?
Senator, I authorize this committee to get whatever is appropriate and lawful, as I've said before.
Specifically including the transcript of your grand jury testimony, which you have the authority to authorize us to obtain.
Well, I don't know if I singularly have that authority. I don't think that's how grand jury testimony works. The Department of Justice.
You do, because you are the witness who can do that.
There's also a court order on that case, sir.
Separately, you can get grand jury testimony by court order. The witnesses can always reveal their grand jury testimony. Do you authorize us to get access to your testimony?
I authorize this committee to lawfully obtain any records that they are appropriately allowed to get.
And we are only, you're speaking in circles now, because we're only lawfully authorized to get that with your permission as the witness. Do you give us that permission?
Senator, I'm not an expert on this constitutional standard, and so I can't commit to something
It's not
that
expert.
I don't
It's
know.
like super simple. Grand jury rule 6E doesn't apply to witnesses. This is not hard. You are a witness. That is a simple fact.
I'm just
you can
relying on my
authorize us
time.
to see it.
As a
He's so
prosecutor,
mad.
grand jury witnesses were not allowed to share what they were testifying to. And when I was commissioned
Grand
before
jury
the judge,
witnesses are allowed to speak about what they were told in the about what they said in the grand jury, unless they're under a specific court order. Are you under a specific court order not to reveal your testimony in the grand jury?
Senator, I can't go
Here
into
right now?
I can't go into court orders granted by the DC District Chief Judge.
If they apply to you, of course you can.
You want me to violate a court order?
You're saying that there's a secret court order in which you can't tell whether you're subject to a court order or not?
I'm telling you that if you find the applicable court order and it permits this request.
I don't need a court order if you give authorization.
I'm not the one that has the authority to do that.
Yes, you are, as a witness. You're just wrong on that. Second, the FBI.
He is retarded.
I also have Cory Booker.
There was
So
a woman who was a witness
Wait,
on a
what?
grand jury in Massachusetts who was just indicted by the federal government for revealing what went on inside that grand jury. So Sheldon Whitehouse is totally wrong.
Yeah. That's also what I was told, like with my brother's case, because there was a grand jury convened and somebody we know was brought in as a witness. Someone who we were close with, who was like at our side in the courtroom and everything. And all the lawyers were like, do not tell anybody what happened in that grand jury room ever, or you will be indicted for that.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, no matter what anybody ever says to you, never reveal what happened in that courtroom. So it's like I know Sheldon Whitehouse was full of shit. I mean, that's a state case versus federal, but still, it's like that's the standard, I believe, is that grand jury testimony is sacred and you're not supposed to like ever reveal that unless it's under like a court order and it's related to a different criminal case or something.
We just read that in the Trump pleading, right? They were making an argument for why it's important to pierce grand jury secrecy, even though it's the most super secretest thing that we have. That would kind of defeat the purpose if any witness could just go out and talk about what happened in there.
Yeah. I mean, because
It
you think
sounds like
about
they're
it, like,
really concerned about what's in there.
yeah, well, because the reason that it's like that, that's the standard, is because a grand jury is convened to determine whether or not a charge is brought. And so if anybody could just walk out and talk about the testimony that was given in a grand jury hearing, like grand jury hearing doesn't mean a charge is actually even brought. There are plenty of grand jury hearings where the charge is not brought. And so if that testimony is like revealed, that potentially is going to like slander the person who was being considered for charges. Like that's a big reason why it's so sacred that it's not supposed to ever be revealed until it goes to an actual case and they're facing an actual indictment.
That's such an interesting clip. That's great recall, Ghost. Juicy.
Yeah, Sheldon Whitehouse, just such an asshole.
Ezra Cohen Wadnick just gave a shout out to Derek Harvey, which I think is notable. Fellow Hitless Squad member. Let me just pull that up quick.
Rick Grinnell shared Joe Lang today in a post that had Q references.
I saw that too.
Grinnell's good for that sometimes.
He's good for that. Hats off to my colleague, Colonel Derek Harvey, who 7 years ago led HPSCI's efforts to get to the bottom of the Russia hoax ICA. Thanks to President Trump's direction to declassify these documents, the American people are finally getting a sense of what Derek and his team discovered. Derek is the quintessential quiet professional, which is why you haven't heard him speak about his work. Now that the documents have been declassified, I hope we can begin to hear more from Derek. It's a fellow Hitless Squad member featured in my Devolution series, part 23. Might as well shill it while I'm on topic, so check it out.
Brian sent us a clip to play about the grand jury stuff from his show last night. It's 4 minutes.
Okay, it sounds like a good time for me to go potty.
Should we play it? Okay.
So,
And in the chat, credit to him. President Trump just truthed this out. Based on the ridiculous amount of publicity given to Jeffrey Epstein, I have asked Attorney General Pam Bondi to produce any and all pertinent grand jury testimony subject to court approval. This scam perpetuated by Democrats should end right now.
I'm not wowed.
No?
No.
What's your take on this whole thing?
Well, that line subject to court approval is going to be a heavy lift because grand jury material is not disclosed ever. Never makes its way into the public arena, but for the most extraordinary circumstances. And in all cases, you need under Rule 6E court approval, or at least every case I've ever dealt with. I've never disclosed any grand jury material without getting court approval. Sometimes you do it preemptively in discovery with certain witness statements and things like that. But most often you just get court approval for whatever you need for trial, and everything else remains secret. The grand jury secrecy rules are extremely serious in federal court. So subject to court approval is going to be very interesting to watch and see how that plays out. And now Pam has a heavy lift here because she's going to have to assign somebody, I assume, to go through all grand jury material. And I guarantee you, one of the factors that the court is going to consider is for all uncharged named persons, they're not going to be identified publicly. Just imagine what would happen to the reputation of somebody who's in the grand jury material, whether it be for something extremely evil or nothing terribly consequential at all. It really doesn't matter. Once you're in that batch with this particular case, I think you're done. You have the kind of reputational harm that will destroy you forever. And I'm fairly sure that that's going to be part of the calculus. So when everyone says we want the list, DOJ can't do that. One, it's a violation of grand jury rules. Two, even in indictments, the department doesn't identify uncharged persons. If they need to be named, they're named as person one, or individual A, unnamed co-conspirator 22. And that's the case even for targets of investigations. If you are uncharged, the department's obligation is to protect your due process rights, just like it's an obligation to protect your due process rights when you are charged. So the obligation is even more enhanced for somebody who's uncharged but named in the discovery of some really insidious creature who was never properly charged going back decades. One of the things I feel bad that Trump has to deal with this.
Yeah.
Because I can guarantee you that if there's anything on Trump, because the Democrats crack me up now, released the Epstein files, right? They're all over it. If there was anything on Trump that would have taken him out of the political game, I guarantee you the Biden White House, and even going back to 2016 with all of these same players, Comey, Brennan, etc., they would have taken him out. If there was Epstein evidence that could have taken him out and ruined his reputation, not grab her by the you-know-what, they got that out, some tape from the middle of, God knows what storage unit where they got that. If there was anything on Trump, it would have been already revealed.
If you don't know what was, it was pussy.
It's kind of funny. Did you guys notice like CanCon's body language changed throughout that clip? It's like when he first read the Truth Social post, he was like super excited.
Yeah, deflated.
And then he just got immediately deflated. I'm trying to like capture it here and put a side by side together. Like he shrunk like 3 inches throughout the clip. Sorry, CanCon.
But that Trump post, the Truth Social post, was like everything. That was what the way he worded it. He's like, because people care so much about this, we're gonna do this now. It's like he's like, I really don't want to do this. Like, this is just such a like what a side quest this is. But I guess we'll like indulge this Epstein thing.
Oh, hey, we got a special guest here, real quick.
No way.
Mike Benz, what's up, man?
What's up, Mike Benz?
What's up, Mike?
Can you hear us?
You're muted, Mike. There you go.
Can't hear you. Can't hear you.
No audio.
Okay.
See if we can get that working here.
I was on a different tab. I thought you were trolling. I was like,
Mike Benz? No. Actually, let's just leave him. Let's just leave him on the side until it gets working.
He's hard, Mike. He's hard muted in StreamYard right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me shoot him a quick DM on Twitter. He said he might be able
Mike,
to jump
can
like
you
10
hear
minutes.
us? No, doesn't seem like it.
We're trying. Thought we'd get you a little special guest, but then it didn't work. Dang.
Hope he comes back.
Yeah, me too.
The chat's trolling me saying Ghost should help him unmute.
Yeah, Ghost.
I was
Ghost,
like,
how long were you muted for?
It was like 10 minutes, I think.
10 to 15, according to people who were in the audience at the time. Ashley D tagged me on Twitter. She's like, can you please let Ghost know he's muted? He's been talking on mute for like 10 minutes. I'm like, oh shit.
That's so funny. That's the one downfall of doing a show on your own without a co-host.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't
and
catch-
doing it on a laptop where you don't have multiple screens, so you can't have the chat up on one screen and then so it's like you're flipping between tabs. Yeah, sucked.
Zach is really quiet about this, and it could be EC says Zach is the OG mute king.
Yeah, I used to be. I think I've done a real good job of training myself over the years.
Grown.
I have a couple of redundancies in place, and I did have an audio issue earlier today, but it was my soundboard. I needed to reset it. So
I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick before
Yeah.
he gets back.
Chris said that happened. That's happened to him once too. So I'm glad that I'm not the only dumbass. I'm not the only person who has done this before.
No, it definitely
all
happens.
of us have done it at some point.
Yeah.
I also like was the king of not sharing my screen and like being on the tab and like reading through something, and then I flip back and it's like everyone's like, yeah, we can't see whatever it is you're presenting.
There's a bunch of times I was doing Badlands News Brief where I was reading for several minutes before realizing that I was on mute.
Yeah. And what's hilarious is when people get like so upset with you, because what they don't understand is like when you're in the zone and like you're locked into what you're doing, like the last thing you're looking at is the chat. Like you try to look as often as you can, but like if you are focused on something, you're just, you're in the middle of that. And then you look and you see that the entire chat is just people screaming that you're muted.
Mute.
Yeah. Or like when they think you're muted, but you're not actually muted. I'll have people all the time that'll be like, no sound, muted. And I never know if they're truly saying that because they don't have audio or if they're just trolling me, because there will definitely come a time where people come in and just pretend that you're muted and then it like throws you off.
Yeah. It's funny because that happened
All right,
today.
hang on, we got a test.
Yeah. Mike, you there?
What's up?
Yes.
Yay.
Hello. How's it going, man?
Good, Mike.
Good.
Welcome to OnlyLands.
Nice.
Haven't had you on Badlands in a while.
Late night. Late night OnlyLands.
Yeah. Feet pics
Get
only.
ready for the feet pics.
You had a post. So I posted earlier today about the J6 thing, and I just
Yeah.
kind of wanted to let you splurge because you had a video out there from like 2023 where you
Yeah.
basically called it and nailed it. So
Well, it's crazy because I kept running into this because kind of the first big thing that I broke in this space was the whole CISA affair. If you remember, this was this kind of seat of government censorship that was tucked inside DHS, and it was super fucked up because it was the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, and no one had any clue. Like those words put you to sleep when you say it. No one had any conception that that would be the place that would be coordinating internet censorship for the federal government. Because what they did is they treated social media misinformation as a cyber threat. They classified it as a kind of like hacking attack of the mind, and because it's done online. And so I had to, look up the whole history and evolution of the place. And it all came back to this January 6, 2017, and this Jed Johnson decision. He was the outgoing DHS secretary for Obama. Like, his last act in office was basically federalizing elections and putting DHS. What they did is, under this order, is they said that that elections are critical infrastructure, which is like a really cute little trick that they pulled, because like DHS protects critical infrastructure, which usually means like low Earth satellites or like deep sea cables, or like, you can argue, like hospitals or roads and bridges. But what they did is they argued that like the metaphysical concept of an election is critical infrastructure, and so anything that like attacks that metaphysical concept, including misinformation about the election, is now a cyber attack. And so the cyber agency, which happens to be filled with basically, there's only three ways you can effectively, be in the cyber hacking world. You can work for the CIA, you can work for the NSA, or you can be a felon. That's basically the only way in. And so you have all these spooks who all hate Trump, who all, want to stop the Trump movement. And now they've got this like carte blanche under their cyber authority, just ban any account, or, basically send a speed message through their cyber mission control to the, highest levels of Facebook and YouTube and Twitter 1.0. And so I kept on tracing like what was happening around January 6, 2017. And that was the same day that the CIA, did their, assessment about the Russian hacking. And it lined up perfectly to a T. I mean, this is 2 weeks before Trump took office. And so what that did is that basically it federalized elections. It put DHS in charge of it. And specifically to do, the Russiagate type crap. And the other like craziest part about that is like you had this DHS set up to do this while at the same, like for it all to come together for the CIA and DHS, when DHS is kind of like the handoff for like CIA and DHS for domestic stuff. And what they ended up doing with CISA in particular, which kind of like brings it all together in this unbelievably crazy way, is when Jed Johnson got together with Michael Chertoff and Janet Napolitano, that was like three former DHS secretaries who came up with this idea to use DHS for domestic censorship. And they justified it on the craziest grounds. Here's what they said. They said, we want a government capacity to take on misinformation on the internet. This is back in 2018 when they took advantage of Jed Johnson's executive order to do this. They said, we'd like to do this through the State Department because we already have our Global Engagement Center who's doing this for terrorists. We can just do this for MAGA people. They said the problem is the state is only foreign facing. They said, well, this is really an intelligence capacity. So, typically this would be the sort of thing that the CIA does when they lean on editors' desks abroad to not publish something. They said, but how are we going to structure this as a covert operation? We can't get, 10,000 people security clearances in the private sector. Also, the CIA faces outward. We have the same problem with the State Department. So I have a white paper where they laid this all out in October 2018, which is like right as they were forming CISA. And then they said, okay, well then how about the FBI? Well, the FBI would be ideal because it's not subject to the domestic firewall that CIA and state are. But FBI requires an act of suspected law breaking in order to expend federal resources, because it's just the investigative arm of the Justice Department. They said, so that leaves us with basically only one other option, which has never been tried. We admit it's a legal gray area, but technically, it's there's no prohibition on it, which is that we can use DHS because it's not attached to the Justice Department. It can combine the foreign-facing intelligence powers of the CIA with the domestic jurisdiction of the FBI and run it all through this. And so, and I actually admitted this on tape in October 2021, and I have that clip on my X timeline. But yeah, so it all came back to that day, though. It was the other January 6th.
That's crazy.
Thank you, Patriot Act.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? Like, any other thoughts about what came out today from Tulsi?
I mean, I think it's, at this point, like how many times can you creatively beat a horse and still have fun doing it. Like, I think this is important. I don't think anyone, with like a functioning frontal lobe who has, been non-comatose for the past 10 years has associated anything about Russiagate as being anything but bullshit. I think everybody just assumed this is exactly what the emails would say.
Right.
And so, it confirmed our biases. But it's nice to have it, though. I think it's still important for the final record to show that. I mean, I think some of the things about it that I thought were, the fact that they assessed a low confidence for the Russian hack, that both, I think they said both FBI and CIA assessed a low confidence for the Russian hack, because the Russian hack story isn't, I mean, first of all, that's what gave rise to CISA. CISA was supposed to be an anti-hacking story because they might hack us, again, ahead of the 2018 midterms, the way they hacked us in 2016. And that was always bullshit. That was a CrowdStrike operation. And CrowdStrike was this, digital cyber firm, which is run by the Atlanta Council effectively through their top guy there. And, it's basically a DNC NATO firm. And, with the CrowdStrike story, I mean, remember, this all goes back to like the weird unresolved murder of Seth Rich, because that hacking of the DNC server, everyone initially thought, and honestly, this would be a moment now that Julian Assange is free. Can you loop him in? Actually, can you just send him a DM? Like, just go for it. Just give it a shot.
See if
that would be so wicked.
Yeah, I'll try.
Let's do it.
You guys must remember this moment, right? This was the heat of Seth Rich mania, and Julian Assange has this cryptic. I don't know if it was RT or what channel he did.
It was like Swedish television or something like that.
Yeah, or something like that. Yeah, but he offered. Did he offer reward money or what was it?
He offered a reward money, and he said, he made this cryptic allusion to the fact that sources have either died or had their lives threatened. And then the guy was like, "Wait a second, are you saying that Seth Rich is your source?" And he's like, "I'm saying that our sources have come under, dangerous scrutiny in the past," or something like that.
I feel like he winked a little bit.
Yeah.
So he was like, it was like the same thing that Alex Acosta, the Epstein prosecutor, the Epstein Justice Department guy, did when he was asked, "Did you really say that Epstein belonged to intelligence?" And then he goes, "I can't confirm or deny." Like, blink twice if this is the bombshell of the century, please. But look, Assange is free now. I mean, think about how powerful that would be to just the next time he's interviewed, because wasn't he just at the Cannes Film Festival? How come no one's cornered Assange and been like, "Bro, look, I know this is 8 years ago, but you remember Seth Rich?"
Yeah.
I mean, that would be just to get resolution on that, because there was so much fishy shit about that too. First of all, DHS had a countering disinformation memo where they explicitly talked about the need to kill Seth Rich conspiracy theories. It's on my X timeline. If you just go to my X handle, it's right there, and you just type in Seth Rich, you'll see in 2018, the whole of Society Countering Disinformation memo they put out specifically had a whole section about how to stop Seth Rich conspiracy theories. And that was done out of the CISA branch, which was set up because of the Russian hacking predicate, which a lot of people think, was really as a cover up for the death of Seth Rich. Yeah. But anyway, CrowdStrike itself, it came out with this assessment that the FBI later held up as being the reason, that the definitive proof that Russia had hacked the DNC server. But then 2 or 3 years later, CrowdStrike was involved in a lawsuit, and they were forced to answer under oath if they had any direct evidence the Russians did it, and they said no.
Yep.
The evidence is all circumstantial. It's a fugazi.
Mm-hmm.
And but to see that the initial FBI CIA assessment was like, "No, the Russians didn't do this. What are you, stupid?" And then they're like, "Okay, well, let's see. We can't get our own FBI is not crooked enough to do that." I mean, think about how crooked CrowdStrike is. Our own FBI, who fucking hated Trump. I can curse here, I presume.
Yes,
I remember cursing.
Of course.
Okay. Our own FBI, who fucking wanted to corkscrew Trump's head open and skull fuck him. They weren't crooked enough for it. So they had to find fucking CrowdStrike to do it. And CrowdStrike was like, listen, you pay me, I'll print anything you want. and that's how we got the first government censorship agency, which then sprawled across the whole government. And now we inherited that whole herpes infection.
And then CISA hires CrowdStrike to run DNR services on all of our election machines.
Yep.
Through the Center for Internet Security. It's crazy.
So two things. I've got that Assange clip. And Mike, what do you think about the severity of the characterization that Tulsi Gabbard made when she laid all of this out? I mean, this goes directly back to Obama. She is pointing to a seditious conspiracy to create a coup to undermine the incoming president. I mean, as you said, it's exactly what we thought it was. But me and Ash and the others were talking earlier. And I mean, this is the first time that I think that it has been laid out in these specific terms. I mean, the category of the crime is as bad as it gets.
I think, listen, I love Tulsi. I think she has been 10 out of 10 out of 10. I think what she did with the JFK files was like completely first class, first rate, set the standard that we're now trying to hold Pam Bondi to. I think that what she did here was monumental in digging it all up. That is not easy to do in terms of having to move through the whole bureaucracy and speed running everything. I'm a bit of a stickler for language, so this is probably the most minor. I don't want this to be interpreted as like, criticism, because it's not. I think she did 10 out of 10 today. I'm a bit of a stickler for language on these sorts of things. If you're going to use that phrase, then you should be bringing charges that are synonymous with it. Because you create a certain expectation. It's like, okay, well, listen, the director of Central Intelligence said this is what it is. Either the Justice Department doesn't agree with that, or what's the statute of limitations for seditious conspiracy? I mean,
I don't think there is.
Yeah, right. Right. So that's right. Like it's not like perjury or like like some civil tort. Like, I mean, so. But I would prefer to see language that reflects the actual charges that the Justice Department intends to bring on this. I mean, you think about all of the crimes that are involved, in this whole network. I mean, I'm old enough to remember when James Clapper testified that there was no domestic bulk intelligence, and then the Snowden leaks dropped. What was it, like a year and a half, 2 years later? You're well within the statute of limitations. I mean, that was perjury under oath, slam dunk. And I do think these kind of there has to be accountability in whatever form that is, and whether that's like some sort of class action civil suit with people who are tangentially impacted by. I mean, because this thing destroyed lives. It destroyed lives of my friends in the White House. I mean, how many casualties of livelihoods happened from this? Everybody who was even tangentially involved in the Mueller probe ended up, having to rack up hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions of dollars in legal fees just to defend themselves. You got to sit for transcribed interviews with the FBI for 6 hours at a time with your lawyer present, and he's fighting the whole thing. People had to mortgage their houses. How many people's spouses left them because they were, financially crippled from this? And so this seems like the sort of thing, somebody has got to be the figurehead on this, that where the message is sent, whether that's James Comey, whether that's John Brennan. I mean, it's
all of the above.
Clapper.
Right. But the thing that just happened at State this week, where 3,000 State Department employees got mass fired, like that is a tangible, real world thing that I know from being at State. Like, you are threatened by the careers from so many angles, and because they were always seen as unfireable, they took it. They took that power, and it corrupted absolutely. And one person goes to jail over this, that will send a message to 100,000 future spooks that you don't want to be that guy. You don't want to push it too far. Because the other thing is, it takes a lot of co-conspirators in order to cook this. Every link in the chain of this intelligence is complicit in it, and all it takes is one person in the chain, to give it up next time. And so I think everybody in the chain goes, okay, well, maybe this one's too risky. but they thought they could get away with anything because so far they have.
Well, they've set the precedence with the prosecutions of President Trump. So, I mean, in my eyes, it opens it up. And if anybody is going to take the fall, I would love it to be Obama.
Well, I got to watch a movie about organized crime now, but in Japan, which I'm very excited about. But do you have that Julian Assange clip up, John?
Yeah, I can pull it up here. Asher, do you have a quick question you want to throw in?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think you have the meeting of the minds on, especially in what Tulsi declassified today. You have the entire National Security Council involved in the meeting of the minds on this. And
You know
if
what?
it's not, it might be. I get what you're saying, Mike, about we need to send a message to future spooks. We need to reassure the American people that they can have public trust. And right now that shit is out the window. And if one ceremonial person goes to prison, it's not going to accomplish the task.
Well, you know what? That's a great point. You only need two elements to prove conspiracy. You need agreement and an affirmative act in furtherance of the agreement. You got the agreement and the affirmative, act in furtherance of it. What's that like generic, generic thing that they always charge people under, like conspiracy against rights?
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like you get 10 years in prison because like two people like made fun of a liberal. Like,
yeah, I defended against that. I won. I defended myself against conspiracy against rights under the KKK Act and won.
Yeah.
But it's
Wow.
notoriously hard to prove because you don't have the meeting of the minds. People don't usually document their agreement to engage in criminal conduct. These motherfuckers did. And they need to be held accountable for it.
The proof of the pudding's in the eating.
I do have that clip up though, so we can play this. Mike, appreciate your time.
No, I got Jet after this, but I just want to watch this one clip and to see if it's as
absolutely.
good as I remember.
First few weeks, if you look at the polls, he needs a miracle. In the American political lexicon, there's such a thing as the October surprise. The stuff that you're sitting on, is an October surprise in there? Do you even know what you're sitting on?
WikiLeaks never sits on material. Whistleblowers go to significant efforts to get us material and often very significant risks. As a 27-year-old works for the DNC, who was shot in the back, murdered just 2 weeks ago for unknown reasons as he was walking down the street in Washington. So
that was just a robbery, I believe, wasn't it?
no, there's no finding. So
What are you suggesting? What are you suggesting?
What are you suggesting?
I'm suggesting that our sources take risks and they become concerned to see things occurring like that.
But was he one of your sources then? I mean,
we don't comment on who our sources
Why
are.
the suggestion? That was like as obvious as it gets. I didn't.
Yeah.
What the hell, man?
Oh man.
Julian, you're a free man now, Julian Assange. And Seth Rich is dead in the grave. Solve this whole mystery right now. Just one word, yes or no. Someone, you know what? Okay, listen, I'm not saying the CIA should do this, but if the CIA was willing to go through all that trouble to frame him for a fake rape bullshit and throw him in jail, for that, could something be done to be like, hey, can we send a honey trap? Can we get a fake USAID funded front group to offer him NGO money if he just gives an answer to this question? I mean, someone's got to hold a mic in his hand. I've never even seen anyone ask him the question. Seth Rich has been dead for 8 years now. Julian, you can't tease. Okay, but I got to go.
It's fine, man. Thanks, Mike.
Right.
Appreciate it. Mike.
Chat wanted you to know that they really appreciate you as well. Sorry, I didn't get that in time, guys. So people asked me to say that
I'll
like
message
12
him
times.
and let him know. So that was cool. I shot in the dark. We've been going back and forth on Twitter because he's been interacting with my posts, and so I was like, hey, you should join our show tonight. And fuck, he popped in. That was crazy. That was awesome.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I don't remember that Julian Assange clip. I've seen it before. I don't remember it being quite that obvious.
Oh, dude, I love that. I have that on deck at all times. It's so good.
When is that from?
It's from the 2016 election season.
Okay,
So it was like shortly after Seth Rich was murdered. Yeah.
Yeah.
If Seth Rich was their source and he's still protecting the source even after their death, mad fucking respect for WikiLeaks.
It's my professional opinion that yes, Seth Rich was definitely the source. Although I can't say that definitively for legal reasons.
There is an interesting tidbit in here, though, when they talk about this. ODNI and DHS suppressed the above September intelligence findings in their press release that states with confidence the Russian government directed the DNC and DCCC hacks. Their statement omitted the fact that the FBI and NSA had low confidence in attributing the data leaks from these entities to Russia, but then they add a note here. There is still supporting evidence indicating the Russian government directed hacking of the DNC and DCCC. I wonder if they're talking about the CrowdStrike shit here.
Or they could be talking about the Guccifer stuff. I mean, like they created a whole fake persona to go out there and take credit for it and claim that they were from Russia.
Yep.
And they named that persona Guccifer.
Guccifer, yes.
Vagina.
John, share my screen. I'll let's introduce a little more intrigue to this. You may recall, Zach. You'll probably recall this. Remember this story?
Oh yeah.
So this is 2014, John. This is what I was talking about in the private chat, and the TLDR is that DNI James Clapper had a vision of paying Amazon Web Services, that is Jeff Bezos, $600 million to build a cloud computing service for the CIA. And the speculation, the deep speculation, was that on the way out the door, there were multiple articles, like blog posts that were written about this, that pieced together some pretty compelling supporting evidence of this, was that the Obama White House reached out to Bezos, who by that time, because I think he acquired the Washington Post in 2013, 2014, right around the time this article was published. And I mean, the speculation was that money was given to Bezos to engage in information like psychological warfare against the Trump administration, and just go all out. And who was at the tip of the spear of the entire deep state war against the Trump White House? The Washington Post. And so, I mean, it's compelling because Clapper's the one who gave Bezos the contract in the first place, and Clapper is now being named in this conspiracy. So I don't know, but that's a question I would have asked Mike if he had more time. But do we think this is going to come back up? Because if it can be proven, I mean, I think it will be proven that there was collusion between these actors in the media. That's going to open this thing up wide open. Like you're talking about media figures going to prison as part of the RICO case.
Hope so.
People are saying it's Guccifer, not Guccifer.
No, we're going to call it Gucci fur.
Yeah, it's Guccifer is how you pronounce it, but yeah, Gucci fur is
like
Lucifer,
acceptable. But not a demon horse or Russian hacker. Hey, John, share my screen for a second.
Okay.
So it's a conglomeration of Gucci and Lucifer.
Just remind
okay.
me.
So I think that it's a word that doesn't exist until you say it, and you could probably say it either way.
Gucci fur, I like that. Okay, so
Seemed to be some confusion when Mike was on 18 USC 3281. An indictment for treason may be found at any time without limitation under federal law. Treason has no statute of limitations, and a person charged with treason can be charged with treason at any time, no matter how much time has passed since the act.
And Trump has referenced the Spygate saga in the context of treason multiple times.
Stop. If this isn't treason, treason doesn't fucking exist.
Exactly.
If this isn't treason,
exactly
treason
right.
doesn't exist.
Yeah.
We know it exists because people have been executed for it before. If this isn't treason, treason doesn't exist. People need to pay.
Totally agree with that.
100%. And
just trying to stay off the rug, you know.
well, and so and by the way, Ash, what's his name? John Solomon spelled all that out to Steve Bannon last week when he came on the show and teased that this was coming. He didn't say what it was going to be, but he said something very, very big is coming next week. Just wait. I can't tell you what it is, but it's huge. It's going to be the thing. And during that same conversation, Bannon was lamenting the fact about how all of like Brennan and all them, the statute of limitations had expired on all this stuff they had done. And Solomon said, no. If this is part of RICO, under RICO, there is like statute of limitations, forget that. It's like under RICO, you can charge them for all that stuff. So if this is a RICO, then there is no
is.
statute of limitations.
Nicely played, Mega Mama.
Dude, sometimes I think people are fucking with me because half the chat will say, yes, I can hear the video. And the other half will say, can't hear the video, Ghost. What's going on? Then I'm like, God.
I could not hear the video when you were playing it today on that show.
Yeah.
What were you just talking? There was a point I was going to make, and it was going to be a good one. What were we just talking about?
RICO and statute of limitations.
Oh, so what we got today from DNI Tulsi Gabbard is not either of the things that John Solomon has been like teasing
really
the last 2 weeks. We are still waiting on the classified appendix from the Durham report and the classified annex or appendix, whichever they want to call it, from the OIG report. Waiting on both those things.
Interesting.
Yeah, I was just going to say, remember how last week we commented on how confident John Solomon was and how we really liked his confidence in that announcement? He followed, it was worth it. He followed through.
He delivered. Yep.
Solid follow.
Definitely did. How do you guys feel about going through some rants?
I think that's a perfect idea.
A perfect idea, like a perfect phone call almost?
Just like a perfect phone call. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. That is like quite the statement. Real quick before we do that, let's get a quick word from the final sponsor of today's show. And I haven't decided who that's going to be yet. Let's do a little Rumble Premium. And we're doing this at the Rumble Studio. This sponsorship is from Rumble, one that is incredibly important to the survival of the company. When Rumble first started in 2013, they built the platform for the small creator. They didn't censor or have biases. They were fair and treated all creators equally. No one thought platforms would censor political conversation or censor opinions on COVID, but they did. Facebook even admitted that they fell to the pressure from the Biden-Harris administration. Rumble didn't do that. They held the line. They're attacked daily for giving us a voice to talk to you. They are attacked in corporate media. They are attacked by governments like France. They are attacked from brand advertisers who refuse to work with them. Corporate America is fighting to remove speech. Rumble is fighting to keep it. Rumble won't survive with brand advertisers because they don't get much of it. Watching our show on Rumble is the most they can ask from you. But if you really believe in this fight, and if you have the means, one major way you can help Rumble survive is by joining Rumble Premium. Join the community that believes in the First Amendment and believes in our human right to free speech. Rumble is offering $10 off with promo code STUDIO when you purchase an annual subscription. Go to rumble.com/premium and use promo code STUDIO. Like I said, if you have the means and believe in the cause, now's the time to join Rumble Premium. If you don't have the means, we're just happy if you watch us here on Rumble. So thank you to Rumble and Rumble Studio, Rumble Premium. Oh, did that even work?
Nothing was playing when you were reading, but
It wouldn't. It would just show up.
It would just show up on the. I think it showed up.
Oh yeah. It was in the chat. It was in the chat. So
Okay.
there was the banner in the chat when you were reading.
Since we just read that ad before we do the rant, should we play President Trump's clip about Rumble?
I was gonna say that. Yeah.
Let's do that.
I have it if you want.
Also, guys, don't forget to hit that thumbs up.
Chris Pavlovsky of Rumble. Chris.
Was this
what
today?
happened to your location, Chris?
Yeah.
You're always a front row guy. You're just being nice today, I think. How's Rumble doing? Good? Good. If Rumble's doing good, that means Truth is doing good. Truth. That's good. You're doing a great job. Thank you, Chris, very much.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So awesome.
So awesome. Yep. And the last thing I'll say is when Benz was talking and he said, he kind of reaffirmed what I was saying before, where people are kind of burnt out on this whole topic because everyone just understands it's all bullshit the whole time. But now we have affirmation. The pressure is now on. Like something, like to your point, Ash, something has to happen. If there is no accountability, then the government is forever illegitimate and can never ever be redeemed. So now the pressure's on. That something we have crossed the threshold, the point of no return. There is no turning back now, because now if nobody is indicted and nothing happens moving forward, then the government is totally irredeemable and has to be dissolved and replaced.
In Minecraft.
Well, I'm just saying, like according to the Declaration of Independence, yes, like according to the founding fathers,
We are not having a meeting of the minds about this right now.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, it's like
Disavow?
that's-
I need to disavow.
Observer.
You know what just occurred to me? We did this whole show and we didn't even talk about Obama and his gay thing.
Oh man, that's so true. We should probably. Do you have that clip too?
I'll find it. Why don't you start going through rants and we could go out with it.
Yeah, that'll be our outro. Perfect. VP Nichols, the past 24 hours or so feels like acceleration to me. Glad to be sharing it with Badlands crew. None of my friends and family here, Wellington, New Zealand, understand what's going on. Thanks for the support, man. You got family here. You should come to a GART sometime if you ever make your way to America. Emerald Dragon 1333. I've never watched Real Housewives, but sadly the new seasons is being filmed in Rhode Island currently. Thank God I got Badlands. Thank God. Thank you, Emerald. PJW, hey John, please plug the Ohio Badlanders meeting on Sunday. Anyone with questions? OhioBadlanders@yahoo.com. As I said earlier, if you haven't yet, go check out our new badlandsmedia.tv/events page. It's updated. We got the GARTs on there, but we also have a whole list of upcoming meetups and an easy way for you to find your local group, get connected. It's great work by Cheryl and the team over there on the back end to get that set up. It sounds like we also got another YouTube super chat. Look at this. Kim Singleton for $20. Great show as always. Thank you, Kim.
The 1999 is a nice touch.
Yeah, you guys are killing it over on YouTube. Loving it. Let's see what else we got here. J. Teeterbrun 2. Twitter spaces sound like very rural county mountain towns in Kentucky. Local gripe columns in the local newspaper. Speak You Peace weekly column.
There's a lot of truth to that.
I like that. Counterinsurgent. Antidote. Sitting outside enjoying some shaded sunshine, listening to Geo with Ghost and Matt. Every time Matt talked, neighbor dogs started barking. Ghost would speak, and they all stopped. Any theories? It's probably because Matt's Canadian. They probably recognize.
Yeah.
Yes.
Canadian.
Yep.
Good dogs.
And
Doing
dogs
at the
love
border.
me. Yes. Good boys. Very good boys.
Melindy, how about a quest to get precinct chairs filled with America First peeps? I like that. It's a good quest.
Precinctstrategy.com for how to do it. And you got to hold the line, though. It's not a one and done thing. It's an ongoing effort.
And it will get dirty.
And it definitely will get dirty.
Smoke. Good to see you, Smoke. Says treason. Now, when are they going to arrest these fucking criminals?
Amen.
Great question. But then he leaves a $5 rant and says, arrest. Sorry about the big thumbs and not wearing my glasses. I get so damn mad my thumbs don't work. You can never have to apologize for corrections that come in the form of rants. Never have to apologize for those.
So
It's also encouraged to correct your typos in your rants with further rants.
With additional rants, yeah. My ultimate dream is that people try to leave the country and then they're stopped at the airport and find that their passports have been suspended. Yes.
That'd be cool.
I just wish they did it like on camera, like reality style, so we could all watch.
I would watch that if that was a reality show of all of these people on house arrest.
I think Brad had a post earlier about that topic, didn't he?
He did. He was talking about Fish Tank, but I spoke about it like totally without the knowledge of him talking.
That
about
was
it as
just
well.
specifically to Obama's cell, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Just live stream Obama's cell 24/7. Use the money to pay down the debt.
Yeah, there you go. And then somebody in the comments had a good comment too. It's like that's OnlyFans, or that's an OnlyFans I'd like to subscribe to. Oh, that's pretty good.
Super fan.
Ziggy Girl says, interesting to see a back-to-back of Tulsi's report and how the media went after Trump for trusting Russian intel instead of U.S. intel. Smoke. Nicole Lee Ething is a registered nurse who has declared her candidacy for the 2026 Republican primary. A poll by Kaplan Strategies indicated she leads Massey 31% to 19%. Scott Jennings may run too.
Oh,
I have an
wild.
in to maybe get Scott Jennings on for an interview on my daily show.
Oh, cool.
I'm working on it. Yep. Keith O'Higgins, Annapolina Luna will be joining Roger Stone's radio show on Sunday to dish out what she has on an FBI whistleblower in protective custody now. Should make the narrative a hotter show later. That's cool.
So wait, she has an FBI whistleblower in custody, and why is she dishing the goods on a whistleblower?
Didn't you see her post where she said, hold on, let me find it. I don't remember when this was. Was it today? No, it was yesterday. She had a post. She's like, why isn't anybody asking me? Yeah, here we go. Why hasn't a single media outlet asked me on to discuss my investigation into the destruction of Epstein evidence at the FBI under Biden's former deputy director? I'm more than willing to go on air, debate the facts, and lay it all out for the American people, but they don't want that. There's a deeper agenda at play. Reach out to my office. Let's talk. You know, so she wants to get the truth out there, but she wants the attention. So she's asking to be brought onto a bunch of podcasts instead of just literally laying it out for the American people and putting it on the website or something, or even
Or in a
account.
hearing in that big building she fucking occupies, right? I mean, she has an office down
He
there.
doesn't get
And
all
they,
the attention that way, though.
I mean, dude,
yeah,
her
well, that's true. But hang on a second. Did anybody know that she had an investigation with findings into the FBI's destruction of evidence with the? Did anybody know that?
So why weren't you asking, Ash? Why weren't you asking if she had it?
Why didn't
Doesn't
I
matter if you
ask
don't know.
Anna Paulina Luna for government secrets? Because I got fucking rug pulled the first time around, and I'm not going to stand on the rug again.
dude, that post that you just showed got 1.4 million views. Why not just make a video of whatever the hell it is you want to promote and just post it on X? And I mean, she's a pretty girl. Like, it's going to get even more exposure because it's you know, a pretty girl saying something. That's how the internet works. Sorry, just that's the truth. So what? Like, why does she need like other people to bring her on her platform to, like, to your point, John, to just lay it out there? If she wants to lay it out there, just make a video of you talking into the camera and lay it out there, or publish the documents or whatever it is. It's like, to your point, she's just trying to grift and become like a social media star.
Apparently, she had this post. Can one of you guys read it? Because I'm going to look up and see if it's legit.
Yeah.
I'm so glad all these members of Congress are now interested in releasing the files I've been trying to obtain for months. I also think it's pretty shady that the media is still not reporting on the story that broke back in March, that there was destruction of evidence at the FBI under Biden. My newfound champions of virtue in Congress did absolutely nothing when I was calling for investigations. And now suddenly they're jumping on the bandwagon. Maybe they should know all the facts first. They should have no issue signing on to the discharge petition I'm about to introduce that would expose the slush fund Congress uses to quietly pay off lawsuits and sexual harassment claims in the House, all funded by your taxpayer dollars, no less. Let's see how virtuous you really are. We will get transparency. I promise you that. But some of these people are total frauds, hiding behind the files as a way to virtue signal when they had months to act and did nothing. Insider trade, get trashed, have affairs, and are so morally bankrupt. If you really knew what happened, you would never vote for them again. It's gross, honestly.
Okay. This is retarded, guys. I'm sorry. This is the story she's talking about from back in March. Feds accused of destroying evidence, Epstein evidence put on notice by GOP firebrand. Rep. Anna Paulina Luna wants federal agents caught destroying or concealing government documents to be eligible for a life sentence in prison. Luna, who is leading a task force on the declassification of government records, is introducing a new bill called the Stopping High-Level Record Elimination and Destruction Act. It goes on to talk about what that thing does. Luna's push for increased penalties comes amid her continued standoff with the DOJ over the declassification of documents related to Jeffrey Epstein and the assassination of JFK Jr. Trump officials like Attorney General Pam Bondi and FBI Director Kash Patel have repeatedly vowed to lead with transparency, including on subjects like Epstein, whatever. However, Luna told Fox News Digital earlier this week that she had not had significant communications with the DOJ about her task force matters. The DOJ has not been really responsive, she said Tuesday. Even if they are, conducting a criminal investigation, you should probably pick up the phone and call us and not talk about it on the news, which is what she's just asking people to do with her information. Mm-hmm. And then she said, conservative influencer Benny Johnson reported on whistleblower allegations within the last month that rank and file agents within the FBI were destroying documents in a bid to block Patel's work. So I don't know if Benny Johnson's... Okay, so it's this guy. The FBI is working day and night to destroy files on these servers. Can't be restored. I'm sure there's info about Epstein and subversion against Americans. That is hardly facts. That's an opinion. That's a speculative statement based on just reading the quote. And I have no idea who this guy is. So we can get into that later. I'm going to do a little more digging. Curious to see what she says on Stone Show.
Is he... So wait. So that guy on Benny Johnson's show was accusing, like, the FBI under Kash and Bongino of doing all that stuff?
Yep.
Okay.
It says actively destroying evidence after Kash Bongino takeover.
I found a clip where somebody blamed APL for the entire binder misrepresentation.
Let me see it.
Okay, hold for processing.
She might accept the attention dollars.
It's in her own words, so we'll see.
I'll keep reading here while you're doing. Oh, you got it already.
Yeah. You ready?
Yep.
Because there are some victims who will receive flight logs and information. That has been such a big deal, mainly because of the fact that we know in previous administrations, i.e. Biden, they were covering that up. And there are people that should be held accountable for the terrible things that they've done. So that's a big win. Obviously, you guys know we've been tasked to head up, and actually Brandon Gill's here. He's actually heading up the task force on declassification. Although we don't hold declassification authority, we are going to be investigating everything that is released and declassified from the White House. So Epstein's going to be on there, also looking into JFK, RFK, MLK. And so we are very happy. This is a huge win, not just for our task force and for Congress, but I think for the entire country. And again, kudos to Bondi and Trump and everyone that's worked so hard to make that happen. So it's very historical. I'm very happy that I got to get that fact checked by ALX because frankly, everyone who would have been tweeting about it was here. So that was pretty breaking news. But again, if you guys need anything, look, we're here to serve you. I can tell you that as far as we're concerned.
Okay, so the post here says the day before the binders and the evening that Bondi went on Jesse Waters, Anna hosted influencers to watch the show and let them know what was going on. And you just heard her shout out to ALX.
And she even said, even though we don't have declassification authority, we're going to be going through all this stuff and investigating what's released. So they're just going through public documents like the rest of us.
Yeah.
But
So
you're
you're
paid
right.
our tax dollars to do it.
That was pretty breaking news, though.
Yeah. Okay.
By the way, that guy was O'Boyle. Someone pointed out in the chat, and that guy and the other two FBI whistleblowers, he was part of that 3-panel whistleblower hearing from
Kyle
2023.
Seraphin on that?
No, it was O'Boyle. It wasn't Seraphin. It was the three other FBI whistleblowers.
So
But
he wasn't even in the current FBI. How can he whistleblow on the current FBI under Dan Bongino and Kash Patel?
Yes, correct. That's what I was about to say. Is like I'm pretty sure he was fired. I mean, I remember when he testified in 2023. Like respect for doing that. But my question is, how does he know that they are currently doing that? And I'm not like exonerating anybody of any wrongdoing or right doing. Like, let's get all the facts.
You don't
but,
hold that authority.
Yeah, but it's like, but I'm saying like I'm not saying I'm not dismissing anything, but like to John's point, bring your facts. Like what proof do you have that anything is happening one way or the other?
And that's the thing. If that was reported back in March, if there was any actual proof of that happening, I feel like it wouldn't have been one guy speculating on Benny Johnson's show about it. That proof would have come out by now. Anyway, let's keep going here. Ziggy Girl, interesting to see back-to-back until I already read that.
I think you're on the final demand is the next one.
The final demand. High devil's advocate rug pulls. If the Epstein files are a hoax and it's documents from government, couldn't they claim these government documents are hoax made up as well? Why would they keep evidence of their crimes? It's a great question.
I don't know if you read Melindy's. I just figured it was mooted because Ben's came on the show after she sent it, but we should not read hers too.
Melindy says, well, this Ben's reply to you, John, looks dasting. Yep. Thank you, Melindy. You manifested that into existence.
Sure did. Thanks, Melindy.
Keith O'Higgins, Kash Patel should blow everybody's mind, especially those senators, and name the new FBI director of communications is Stu Peters. Oh my God. Deborah Starr is Badlander fan. John, I have a story to tell which may interest you, and I am a patient person. I emailed you back today. I don't know if you responded or not, but I did email you. I just haven't checked my email since.
Deborah, check your spam.
Check your spam. Babufio, it's not us we need to convince. We still have millions that only follow mainstream media. It's true.
I don't think there's millions of people watching mainstream media.
I bet there is. I bet there's like at least
not according to their ratings.
A million. I bet there's a million at least.
Well, their ratings numbers are like 1 million, 1.5, maybe 2 million, but their rating numbers are live plus same day times 1,000.
Yeah, that's too much math. I'm just saying, I bet there's a million people in this country that watch what we would classify mainstream media.
Maybe.
Technically, I'm right. 2812, VPJ. So I talk about Ash with her black and white birds in Denver. I'm talking at a stupid level with all you guys. Let's now put Mike Benz on.
I tried to understand that when I saw it for the first time, and I still don't. But if you're gonna pay $50 to make fun of me, then that's cool. And if you're, having my back, then that's even better. I just don't understand what you mean.
I understand.
Yeah,
that
I'm very confused by that. But thank you for the generous donation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Anyway, the Freeman Show, please provide a thoughtful answer. Who do you think leaked the unsigned, undated Epstein memo to Axios and why? Also, Una Panuna. I don't really care who leaked it.
Well, I'm pretty sure it was the guy that she fired almost immediately thereafter, the ethics guy. I can't remember his name, but hang on, I'll tell you.
Kitty Kubiak, while you're looking that up, courts too corrupt to hand out just sentences. Can't do much till have control of House and Senate and can impeach and remove traitor judges. That's a good point, too.
Joseph Terrell.
Terrell. Keith O'Higgins, ask Mike how he feels about Cliff Sims being cock-blocked by McMaster's and leaving because he couldn't warn Trump. Should have asked him. Sorry, man. I'll ask him next time. 3 Dogs, 1 Cat. What an amazing treat. Love the show. At 3 Dogs, 1 Cat. Thank you. The Q Awakening. Why didn't Trump 1.0 reverse Jay Johnson and shut down CISA? Actually, what's interesting is Jay Johnson is the one who made election infrastructure critical infrastructure. CISA technically was underneath DHS. Trump, after it was named critical infrastructure, Trump actually signed the bill that Congress put forth, creating its own agency. Like technically it was created under Trump, the agency itself. So not only did he not reverse it, he allowed it to become a thing, and maybe it was on purpose.
I think it was in service of catching the larger conspiracy.
That's what we like to speculate.
Yep.
Jackie Espada. What?
I was just gonna say arguments could be made also for the other person that the release of that unsigned memo started this whole narrative cycle, which culminated in what's about to happen. So I can make arguments bicamerally that it was a black hat operation or it was a white hat operation. The net effect is that the whole public's talking about Epstein right now.
Terry America in the chat says $5. You show Bob Zenvagine.
Yes, correct.
$5 might be a little cheap, but yeah.
not on OnlyFans, actually.
That's true. Jackie Espada, something to lighten the mood. What is everyone's favorite song and why?
Lie in Our Graves by the Dave Matthews Band, because it's the best song ever made.
That's a good song. I feel like I go in so many like phases of what my favorite song is. It just depends on I don't know. It could change by the day.
In the Face of Evil by Magic Sword.
It's a good one. Yeah. I played The Call earlier on Geopolitics.
Did anyone hear
it? Nice.
Burn, good one. Yeah.
I'll get back to you on that. I want to think about that one, Jackie. So maybe have Cam text me or something. Babbage 3, there's a late YouTube super chat. I should check those. See if there's any more. Did get another one. Peter Friedrich gifted another 5 Badlands Media memberships. You are amazing. You guys are all amazing. Thank you for the support. Melindy, Article 1, Section 2 of the Texas Constitution. I guess I'm covering Ghostface. Sorry. States that all political power is inherent in the people and all free governments are founded on their authority and instituted for their benefit. Then the second part of that, the faith of the people of Texas stands pledged to the preservation of a Republican form of government and subject to this limitation only they have at all times. Part 3, the inalienable right to alter, reform, or abolish their government in such a manner as they may think expedient. Cheers, Ghost.
Cheers.
My man. The rest of us, I guess.
Well, hey, man. Thomas Jefferson's the biggest glowy of all time because he's the one who wrote it. So,
yeah. Babufio, PPV for punishments. Hell yeah. Miss Rhea Freedom Fighter. Hey, Zach, did you say that Stephen Colbert was the heir to a family fortune?
I did not. I said that Stephen Colbert's show was canceled, and then I immediately transitioned into the Johnson & Johnson heir molesting his stepdaughter. So I can see how you would get those crossed.
Betty W07 says, thank you for all you do. You help keep me sane.
Did you skip the Melindy?
There's a third part.
I read those in
you read them all together. Okay.
Yeah. That's all we got. And so with that, we can do the outro of the Obama gay thing.
Yeah, I dropped that link in the private chat. I can also play it if you want me to.
I got it here. Just pulling that up right now. Thank you, everybody. Hit the thumbs up. Appreciate it. Tell all your friends that we had Mike Benz on. That was really cool. Glad he welcomed.
Pretty
He's
awesome.
glad he joined us.
Yeah.
But thanks, guys. See you tomorrow on the Power Hour. If you guys want to plug anything, feel free.
I'll be back Monday at 5 p.m. and then 10:30 on Baseless Conspiracies.
Yeah, Monday, Alphas Make Sandwiches and Culture of Change right before Baseless Conspiracies.
Monday, the Book of Trump, 7:30.
There we go. Awesome. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow night.
Peace.
And that's one of the things that I think a lot of times boys need is not just exposure to one guy.
One dad.
One dad. No matter how good the dad
is. He can't be
like
everything.
he can't be everything. And that boy may need somebody to give the boy some perspective on the dad.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
One of the most valuable things I learned as a guy was I had a gay professor in college at a time when openly gay folks still weren't out of line, who became one of my favorite professors and was a great guy and would call me out when I started saying stuff that was ignorant. You need that to show empathy and kindness. And by the way, you need that person in your friend group so that if you then have a boy who's gay or non-binary or what have you, they have somebody that they can go, okay, I'm not alone in this.
Yeah.
Right. So